Okay. Greetings, brothers and sisters. I've already made the rest of this video, most of what you've seen, what you're about to see after this, probably. It's 4 o'clock. It's probably just Sunday, and I've got most of the stuff. I got to do a voiceover with some comments. But really, it's kind of, this is over for me. And my wife sent me this, and I didn't want to put this at the end of the video because it's way too important. It's way too hilarious. Because I already thought of the title of this video, which is, like, how do they get away with a false flag event with all these wonderful journalists around? And so this is on Fox News. And this is hilarious.
I want to just quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me. And, right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened. And then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV. You do a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some.
Sounds like we lost Aisha's phone there.
Yeah, what happened? What happened to Aisha? Is Aisha still alive? Is Aisha been besotted all of a sudden?
This happens, by the way, especially when you have so many people attempting to utilize the same cell service at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's what happens as soon as they start talking about. I mean, it's amazing how when everyone's using the same cell service and Aisha starts talking shit about how Carolyn Levitt's husband was saying, "Hey, you better watch out. There's going to be a fucking event here," and then they cut her off. And I guess she didn't come back on until she got a talking to, right? So that's just spectacular. All right, let's get into the rest of the video that I already started to make here. Okay, so I had this video rendered and was ready to go up today at 2 p.m. But I noticed this came in last night. Today's Monday, April 27th. So everything else in this video I did at some point yesterday. And I'm going to put this in the beginning, but, this thing is confirmation of a lot of things I'm saying in the video. Read White House Correspondents' Dinner gunman Cole Allen's full anti-Trump manifesto. Accused White House Correspondents' Dinner's gunman Cole Allen spent a spiraling manifesto to his family members about 10 minutes before Sunday's attack, sources told the Post. The 1,000-word missive, the 1,052-word missive obtained by the Post Sunday morning, signed Cole Force Friendly, federal assassin Allen, outlined his rules of engagement of the shooting and stated he believed it was a righteous day to target administration officials. This guy was a 31-year-old part-time teacher. This is Cole's manifesto in full. So I've talked about this in the past. I'm talking about this somewhere in this video. I don't know where. But, these lone shooters, they try to make like they're part of a club. Like they all are being trained and they all are, these patsies, right? That somehow they all write manifestos and they all follow a certain, code of like lone shooter code. Like they all have some kind of thing in common, right? And manifestos are one of them. And manifestos are what, usually when they're dead, they have, this is the guy's reasoning for it. And, it often stuff in the manifesto is to target other people now online or people with similar views. Saying, you're a potential Cole Allen, right? There's lots of reasons for this, but they create these fictional stories and they roll out information packets day 1, day 2, day 3, right? And manifesto usually comes day 2 or day 3. Hello, everybody. So I may have I'm giving a lot of people a surprise today. Let me start off by apologizing to everyone whose trust I abused. I apologize to my parents in saying I did an interview without specifying it was for Most Wanted. I apologize to my colleagues and students for saying I had a personal emergency. By the time anyone reads this, I probably certainly do need to go to the ER, but could hardly call that not a self-inflicted status. I apologize to all the people I've traveled next to, all the workers who handled my luggage, and all the other non-targeted people at the hotel who I put in danger simply by being near. I apologize to everyone who was abused and or murdered before this, to all those who suffered before I was able to attempt this, to all those who may still suffer afterwards, regardless of my success or failure. I don't expect forgiveness, but if I could, I've seen any other way to get close. I would have taken it again. My sincere apologies. All right, so, this guy is not sounding crazy, right? Like they're supposed to make him sound crazy because, this is supposed to be thought out. And, like, an intelligent person would realize that he ain't getting into that room, right? That's sprinting down the hallway, where all these militarily trained people, hundreds of security, heavily armed people are going to take target practice like a video game target practice of some guy running down the fucking hall. Is not a solution, right? But like they made a mistake in terms of the tone of this thing because it's just kind of flippant, right? And of course, I'm reading it that way. On to my why I did any of this. I am a citizen of the United States of America. What my representatives do reflects on me. I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. Well, to be completely honest, I was no longer willing a long time ago, but this is the first real opportunity I had to do something about it. While I'm discussing this, I'll also go over my expected rules of engagement, probably in a terrible format, but I'm not military, so too bad. Administrative officials, not including Mr. Patel, they are the targets, prioritizing from the highest ranking to the lowest. Secret Service, they are targets only if necessary, and to be incapacitated, not lethally if possible. A.k.a. I hope they're wearing body armor because center mass with shotgun messes up people who aren't. Hotel security targets, if all possible, a.k.a. unless they shoot at me first. Like I said, sort of like a game of tag he was playing. Capitol Police, same as hotel security. National Guard, same as hotel security. Hotel employees, not targets at all. Guests, not targets at all. In order to minimize casualties, I'll also be using buckshot rather than slugs, less penetrated through walls. I would still go through most everyone here to get to the targets, if absolutely necessary, on the basis that most people chose to attend a speech by a pedophile, rapist, and traitor, and thus complicit. But I really hope it doesn't come to that. Objective number 1. As a Christian, you should turn the other cheek. Rebuttal. Turning the other cheek is when you, for yourself, are oppressed. I'm not a person raped in detention. I'm not a fisherman executed without trial. I'm not a school kid blown up or a child starved or a teenage girl abused by many criminals in the administration. Turning the other cheek when someone else is oppressed is not Christian. It's complicity in the oppressor's crimes. Here they have the objection 2. This is not a convenient time for you to do this. Rebuttal. I need whoever thinks this way to take a couple minutes and realize that the world isn't about them. Do you think that when I see someone raped or murdered or abused, I should walk on by because it would be inconvenient for people who aren't the victim? This was the best timing and chance of success I would come up with. Objection 3. You didn't get them all. Got to start somewhere. Rebuttal. Objection 4. As a half-black, half-white person, you shouldn't be the one doing this. Rebuttal. I don't see anyone else picking up the slack. Objection number 5. Yield unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Rebuttal. The United States of America are ruled by the law, not by one or several people. Insofar as representatives and judges do not follow the law, no one is required to yield anything so unlawfully ordered. I would also like to extend my appreciation to the great many people, since I would likely be able to talk with them again. I would not be likely to talk to any of them again, unless the Secret Service is astoundingly incompetent. Thank you to my family, both personal and church, for the love of the 31 years. Thank you to my friends for your companionship over many years. Thank you for my colleagues over many jobs, for positively and professionally. Thank you for the students for your enthusiasm and love of learning. Thank you for many acquaintances I met in person, online, for short interactions and long-term relationships, for your perspectives and inspiration. Thank you for everything. Sincerely, Cole, Cold Force, Friendly Assassin, Alan. Okay, not that all the sappy stuff is done with. What the hell is the Secret Service doing? Sorry, going to rant a bit here and drop the formal tone. Like I expected, security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents, every 10 feet, metal detectors up the wazoo. I mean, the fact that out the wazoo, he worked it out the wazoo into his manifesto. What I got, who knows, maybe they're pranking me, it's nothing. No damn security, not in transport, not in the hotel, not in the event. Look, one thing that I immediately noticed walking into a hotel is a sense of arrogance. I walked into multiple I walked in with multiple weapons and not a single person there considered a possibility that could be a threat. The security at the event is all outside, focused on protesters and current arrivals, because apparently no one thought about what happens if someone checks in the day before. Like, this level of incompetence is insane. I very sincerely hope it's corrected by the time the country gets actual competent leadership. Um, like, if I was an Iranian agent instead of American citizen, I would have bought a damn Medusa in here and no one would have noticed shit. Actually insane. And if anyone is curious of how doing something like this feels, it's awful. I want to throw up. I want to cry for all the things I wanted to do and never will. For all the people who trust this betrays, I experience rage thinking about everyone in this administration has done. Can't really recommend it. Stay cool, kids. Peace out. Okay, so a Medusa is a Browning M2 50 caliber heavy machine gun, a U.S. military staple for nearly a century, usually tripod mounted. He could have brought in a McDeuce, a Medusa. I made it at McDonald's just accidentally. Like, I mean, kind of a weird manifesto. Better written. Like, this kind of makes the guy sound like, for example, calling Trump a pedophile rapist. All the shit that he called Trump is not something. Like, this is why they're not. I mean, New York Post posted this, and they kind of don't really like Trump. But by a pedophile, rapist, and traitor. Like, they don't want those words associated with Trump. Like, I don't, this manifesto doesn't help Trump. Like, it's not a, good one for him, because it just, all these things are, at least not even on a subconscious level. So, whatever this thing is, it makes the guy sound better. Like, it doesn't sound like it's written by intelligence community. So they either got better at writing them, or this guy was just an organic guy who came in or did this stuff, on his own, which I would find that hard to believe, but this is a more believable manifesto, right? Because it doesn't contribute to the narrative, if you read the thing, and probably no one's going to read it, it doesn't make the guy sound crazy. But either way, like this whole thing, it's just, it would be co-opted. Like, let's say this guy was organic, which I don't think he is. But, if he was, they'll co-opt the story and they'll bend it to whatever they want. There was one more thing my wife sent me. Okay, I was trying to find what I put up. It was on one of my tabs, and it's Twitter. So then I opened up Twitter. This was the top thing. And it says, security at the White House Correspondents' Dinner was tight. And so this guy walks right through with fucking with a kind of gun, a Medusa.
Not so fast, Richie. All right. Okay.
Well, these navigational charts seem okay. I don't think there'll be any.
This is from the movie Airplane, right? So, you know, they got the grandmother, but the guy walking through with a Medusa. MAGA accounts tweet in unison about the need for a White House ballroom following White House correspondents in their incident. This is why President Trump needs to build the White House ballroom. This is why we need Trump's ballroom. Thank God President Trump is building a ballroom at the White House. You know why the left is suing to block Trump's privately funded White House ballroom. We need the White House ballroom. And then, you get the idea here. So I don't know if this was something that was planned or, they all got a memo, but they heard Trump say it and then they, followed suit because they're just parrots. All right, so here's the rest of the video that I made yesterday, and it's awesome. I mean, it's incredible. It's the greatest thing ever. Or, this guy with end wokeness. All right, let's get into it here. Okay, so CBS has been the worst at copywriting things. I know they're under new leadership, Israel, right? That woman, Barry Weiss, is completely owned by Mossad Israel, right? But they had a 60 minutes report. So I rendered this video twice, and this is the third time. But I have two things to add to this. There's an upcoming spiritual gathering I forgot completely about, which one of my viewers reminded me, which is great. So, anyways, this came on last night that there was going to be a 60 minutes interview, and this is, I forget what, Nora O'Donnell, and she asked Trump about the manifesto. She said there's a manifesto and some of his motivation. And hopefully I'll get this in because, like I said, CBS fucking copyrights everything. We'll see. Okay, so he's very upset because this is coming, right? So he said, administration officials, they are targets. That's what she writes first. And then she says, he also wrote this.
I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people.
Okay, so you're horrible people. I knew she had to ask that question, right? That's, it's in the manifesto.
Horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Okay, so your wife said you did, and that was part of her legal whatever. Your ex-wife, like it's, and I don't know if he is or not, but, multiple women have said he is, and, and I know he's definitely, he's committed sexual crimes, like going into the girls' dressing room at the, he admitted to that shit, right? And, then all the other accusations about him. He's definitely creepy, and he definitely would use force and manipulation and pay women off and, prostitution and, these things. And so, there is things that we do know about him, right? And he was besties with Jeffrey Epstein.
But, do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me.
Do you think he was referring to you? That's a great right here.
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated.
Yeah, no one thinks that, right? And so his reaction is, classic Trump. He is, there's stuff here. Like, there's real stuff here. I've played all the clips. I have a whole hour-long thing of all the creepy shit he said, weird shit he said about his daughter. I mean, he's creepy in this area. The grab by the pussy, which is a sexual assault. All the things that he said over the years. And then going into the beauty queen's dressing room. And one of these contestants said that the staff told her that they're all supposed to fawn all over him. And, I have all that stuff somewhere. Like, it's not a compilation. It's an hour long, so I'm not going to stick it in here. It's already a long video. But you guys have probably seen it. And, the stuff with Howard Stern where he admits he goes in there because he, can get away with it. And so that's all sexual assault. So, like, and the stuff he said about Jeffrey Epstein and their relationship. And, he's a creep in this area, and, like, he knows it. And they have something on him. Somebody does. Israel. Like, there's stuff out there. Like, Jeffrey Epstein was in the blackmail business, right? We've seen what he's done here. And so, this is a great moment. Oh, you think he was talking about you?
Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things.
Because he's saying that it's only Democrats. All right, so I'd like to show the rest of this, but CBS is so bad at copyrighting everything. But you get the idea. You could find this clip on. Okay, so I've added 3 things to this video now. So, one last night, I think 4 things maybe now. I'm not sure. I kind of like it when this happens when I make a video and the stuff before leads up to the new beginning of my video, because instead of putting the stuff in chronological order, I'll put the stuff the fallout, and then I have all the stuff leading up to it behind it. It's kind of interesting, right? Like it's my those Memento movie, that movie where the guy has short-term memory loss. So, anyways, I watched the end of his clip here, and he ends up saying, I said to myself, like, I knew you guys were going to read this. And, I read this manifesto, this guy's sick, and I read the whole thing. And, why would you read it, right? I mean, you don't read anything else. Like, I understand why a normal person would read it. But he said, but you should be ashamed of yourself, right? You guys should be ashamed. I knew you guys were going to ask it. You should be ashamed of yourself. So, the reality of the thing is, it's hard to... he's not happy about the manifesto. So if this is a completely manufactured, fake stage thing, which it looks like it is, then they're screwing him over, right? They're maybe reminding him, like this is, like if Israel did this, right? If this guy's, Mossad or whatever whatever this thing is, they're reminding him, right, that he, they got shit on him or whatever it is. Like they often do things they don't have to do. I'm talking about all these people I call controllers. These people, they're paranoid and they're fucking, I mean, they don't, they know that at some point they're going to lose, like they're going to be absorbed, like they're going up against God. And once you go up against God, I mean, it's for everybody. Whenever you're doing anything is wrong, and you have some sense of divinity, whatever your level of understanding divinity is, then at some point you're going to be held accountable. Like, and everyone kind of knows that on some level. Like, you're on borrowed time and you're waiting for the consequence to come. You're waiting, there's natural consequences to what you do. It's not God punishing you. It's just natural consequences. Things that would result from it. It's the reaction to an action, right? Every action has a reaction. Whenever you use force, a counter force is applied. And so whenever you use force for anything, the counter force comes along. And so it's a reason not to be forceful, because you have to deal with the rebound of what's going to happen. Anyway, so, all these people know this to whatever extent, and I don't know what's going on here in terms of the legitimacy of this guy's manifesto, but I do know Trump ain't happy with it. So there's that. All right, so the other piece is, one of my viewers wrote to me and said, you probably already know. I can read the thing to you. People are very hesitant to, say something to me that, might be seen as a complaint or something like that, right? So, they word things very carefully. In this case, if it's a title and there's misspelling, now I don't want 20 people doing it because it's 19 extra comments, right? But if 1 or 2 people tell me, my wife tells me all the time, you misspelled this, and it's good. I like that. Like, I should take better care of the titles. It's a constant mistake I make, but it's correctable. But if I make a mistake in a video, chances are I'm not going to repeat the mistake, because, I just move on to something else, because I'm going to make mistakes, but it's not something I can fix, right? Unless it's so glaring I have to edit it out. It would be something, But this person, you probably already know, but I want to reach out and say that Babaji's birthday celebration is this Thursday, April 30th. May you have a blessed gathering, forever grateful for your service to the mission. And I don't know that. I mean, I do know it. I know Babaji's birthday is April 30th, but like I get lost in time now because I don't have, we kind of really don't celebrate our anniversary. Like I know what day it is. My wife's, and my anniversary. Our birthdays aren't a big deal anymore. And holidays are pretty much nothing. And so, I don't have like time just kind of, every day's kind of similar, right, for me, my schedule. And usually I look forward to the gatherings, but it didn't happen in this case because, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I just wasn't thinking about it. So those of you who are interested in doing the Sajmar, Gratefulness Meditation, my Gratefulness Meditation channel, which is always free, I'll make a video talking about the upcoming gathering today and put it up sometime later this afternoon. Because, I usually do it weeks ahead of time. So this person was, it's good that they reminded me. Because, again, I'm not going to group meditation, and there's no organization anymore because of the heartfulness debacle. And so I'm just, we're all just out here on our own kind of, and there's all the information that's there comes through me for those doing this gratefulness meditation. It's like a spin-off of, this, what became a corrupt organization. So anyways, anybody who's interested, or you guys, I'll post a video on gratefulness meditation later today. And then, updates as the gathering. But I'm glad this person reminded me because it was just not there. Like I was just, Anyways, all right. So, let's get into the part of the video I already made. Like there's all these things I'm adding this morning. And so here's a video I made yesterday, and I'll come back on Wednesday with a new video Wednesday morning. Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. Sunday morning, April 26th. This video will be going up sometime on Monday, and then there'll be a break. This developing story, I don't know what I'll do, but more than likely I'll take a break on Tuesday, like I always do. I have 3 days on, and then I take a break so people can catch up with the content. My wife sent me this last night, this catch-up meme, right? So, when this happened, when Trump did this fake assassination attempt, and, it was very telling that there was, like, no truth community. Because I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this is so fucking fake. This fake assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. It was so WWE, and, I tell the story over and over again. Like, I didn't know Trump had anything to do with Vince McMahon and WWE. But, he did. And then, all the rest of it. So, I was pretty stunned when one of my viewers said that he watched 60 videos and only 3 people were even, saying that might be fake, aside from me, right? Like, truthers. And there was all these people in the truth community that were completely hoodwinked by Trump. Because if that had been Joe Biden, it was so obviously fake, right? But you can see how far Trump has fallen because people are posting stuff like this, right? Because I said hashtag ketchupgate, right? Like, whatever it was, a year and a half ago. In a year and a half, Trump has lost pretty much. I mean, when I was reading through the comments, some of that was on CNN, but some things on Twitter. Pretty much everybody realized Trump's a piece of shit, and this thing is faked. And so, that's not really progress because, like I said in my previous videos, there's no leverage. Doesn't mean anything. That everyone believes this is fake. The news will pretend that it's real. I mean, CNN and MSNBC will pretend it's real. That it's not staged because if that stuff's being staged, there's no government. There's no reason to have any faith in the government. All right, so let me show you this first. Let's go to this part first. Okay, my first video about this, I went on Twitter. It was like 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night, and I didn't realize my wife had sent to me. We were watching TV together. She sent me the thing, and didn't say anything about what happened. It still didn't matter because, I wasn't really wanting to make more video. Like, I thought my video was done for the day. But I went on Twitter to find what Trump said he was released a video of the footage, that really poor video. Where's Benny Hill? Like, we'll show that again in a moment. So I went on Twitter and everyone was posting this video. Like, this video came up a bunch of times. And I watched it, but I didn't watch it to the end. And then my wife had watched it and sent it to me. She says something here.
Ready to rumble, is he not?
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump.
Donald J. Trump, okay. So first of all, Trump was roasted, and he didn't like it. Like, you could see when he did the celebrity roast, he wasn't digging it. Like, he just doesn't like to be insulted. And then he had a lot of rules. A lot of the rules were around him being a slumlord. Like, jokes people couldn't, subjects the comedians could say, right? But if you watch any of the Donald Trump roast, he didn't dig it. He refused to go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner for years. Like, he just didn't do it for all these years that he's been president. Because, it's not only that he's going to get roasted, but he has contempt for the media. It's supposed to be a time where, it's more like, hey, we're all friends, we're all in the same club kind of thing. They laugh at each other, there's jokes, and you're supposed to self-deprecating. It's, one of these Freemasonic humiliation rituals, kind of thing that they do. And Trump wasn't doing it. This is the worst year to do it. His poll numbers are shit. He's in a war. He's being owned by Israel. He's lost all these people, people that used to be supporters, big time, podcasters and right-wing, people who are, there's his whole thing's in disarray. He's going to get hammered in the midterms. Gas prices are up. Inflation's up. He's, he knows he's beaten. And all of a sudden he decides to show up. It was weird. I thought that was weird. I was going to watch the thing because then he hired a mentalist, which I saw in the morning, instead of a comedian. He's hired a mentalist. And, so I don't know why he would do this. You schedule an event or something, he didn't ever have to go. I mean, you could say that the shooter took him out of this thing, but he didn't have to go. He could have said, no, I'm not doing this again. He doesn't have to do it, and he hasn't done it. So why did he do it this year, right? And so only for this event. And so
It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I love it all. And you wrote most of it, you said.
I can't take credit. In true Donald Trump fashion, the man puts his pen to the paper himself. So it's a lot of...
Okay, yeah, so that's why his speech is talking. All right, so shots were fired. So that was the first piece. So, people are focused on that. I don't know why, she would say that if she knew it was going to happen. But the reality of the thing is, again, if your guy plays hooky, he doesn't do this thing, he's supposed to do it, and he never did it, right? The White House Correspondents' Dinner, he doesn't do it. It's not something he does. And all of a sudden he chooses to do it in a year where he's very vulnerable to, real, it's so contentious, it's worse than ever. He's going to sit down with the fake news media and get roasted in front of them, all that shit. He's going to do that. In fact, they would have it. I think they would have it and he wouldn't come. I don't even remember what happened with it. And it's a weird thing. Like I said, it's a weird thing that they do. It's a roast, so, and all of a sudden, he decides to have one and then they have some fucking bogus event, right? So that's the first piece, right? Shots fired. They yanked J.D. Vance out of the chair here. These guys come running in, all these guys, right? So, this is obviously not a plot. They probably, it's a plot to do this, right? This fake thing, but there's no, some guys running half naked through a hallway, firing a gun, have no one out, some homeless looking guy. We'll get back to that stuff in a moment. I'm going to go through a bunch of these clips and then I'm going to show Trump's press conference. And so there's multiple reasons for what, people would say this is a distraction. So the first one is we'll get to the Iran war. That's the first one. So the people are talking about being a distraction from Epstein and, whatever. But that's, that's an ongoing thing. But let's go to the war thing first here. All right. So before you get there, this is some local news station. Some, I don't know, out of Houston. I'm not Houston, but YouTube recommended this.
Were escorted out of the room. Other guests and reporters dove under tables. President Trump released surveillance video on his social media page showing the suspect running by officers who quickly pulled out their weapons. A Secret Service officer was shot in his protective gear, but he is expected to be okay.
So the guy's alive? I thought he was dead. This is the suspect? Look at him. Well, what is this guy? Why has he got no fucking shirt on? The guy in the thing, just what's going on? This is the video footage they played out. Some shirtless guy ran through the hotel. Trump was saying they need a secure building, right? They need to do this in the ballroom. But the reality is, this was happened on the perimeter, right? They didn't even need to bother the people in the room. There's protests and shit that go on all the time. So this, they didn't have to react this way, right? They didn't have to, all the people should have gone through heavy security. They would have been frisked, and all the people. They would have been, they're just not going to allow these people to come in with a gun, with the president sitting there, and the whole thing. So, all these reporters, all the people in the ballroom, all the people in the venue. So, there's a perimeter, and the perimeter stopped a guy with a gun. Now, who knows how he even got that far, but he clearly wasn't anywhere. The president had zero danger. There was zero danger in the room, and so with the Butler thing, they all assumed there's only one shooter because they let Trump pop his head up and say fight, and that whole thing. But this one, they assume there's another shooter in the venue, just because there's one out there, and so there's always threats, right? Like this guy, and so it's silly. The whole thing is just contrived. Like it doesn't make any sense that they would, there's no, like what's this guy's motivation for running through the whatever it is? I'm sure we'll hear about it. Why that guy did this, but like other than just to get shot, it's not a form of protest. It's just idiocracy. But apparently, so this was put up almost immediately. Is this real? Is this real? Alleged shooter Cole Allen wearing an IDF sweatshirt. What the fuck? Shooter Cole Allen seen here in an Instagram post wearing an IDF sweatshirt before his profile was removed. I don't think this is real, but I don't know. Why would the guy have that out? Why would they, put that out? Like if they are planning this would be a part of something, that they don't need to use an IDF person, right? Like this is a staged thing. They don't need to cast an IDF person unless that was intentional, and they would have taken his Instagram page down, right? So, but they have this guy already, and whatever it is. So that's, that was being thrown out there. So, Trump cancels Witkoff and Kushner's visit to Pakistan for Iran talks as tensions escalate. Now, this was something I was just becoming aware of as I was finished on my last video. And I was going to cover it in the beginning of this video because it's, kind of important. So he decided that Witkoff and Kushner shouldn't go to Pakistan and negotiate in person anymore. Which means there's no real negotiations, right? Like it's not going anywhere. And so this happened yesterday, like the same day of this thing. There's these this thing to put on here. I got another piece for you here. Expected to participate in talks with Iran war. You're not going to be making any more 18-hour flights to sit around talking about nothing. That's what, like, fucking, you're not talking about nothing. So, like, what? Well, then it's over, right? There's no ceasefire. There's no, right? There's another one here. Let me show this one.
Too much time wasted on traveling, too much work. That's what President Donald Trump said when he announced that he is no longer sending a delegation to Pakistan this weekend for talks with Iran.
We're not going to spend 15 hours in airplanes all the time going back and forth to be giving a document that was not good enough.
His announcement comes at...
So this is what was said. Like, they're going to, if there's no peace talks and they're not even really engaged in this, they're nowhere close to having a deal with whatever's going on. He can't open the Strait of Hormuz, right? Like, he can't fucking open it.
As Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner were expected to travel for potential negotiations. Trump is now blaming infighting in Iran for derailing those talks. In a True Social post, he wrote in part,
I've canceled the trip of my representatives to Islamabad, Pakistan to meet with the Iranians. Too much time wasted traveling, too much work. Besides which, there's tremendous infighting, confusion in their leadership. Nobody knows who is in charge, including them. Also, we have all the cards. They have none. If they want to talk, all they have to do is call President Donald J. Trump. So there are no talks, right? Like, for one, you're claiming there's no one knows who's in charge. Well, there's no government. You can't make a deal with chaos. You can't make a deal with fucking chaos, dumb fuck, right? So if you take down their leadership and now you want to get out of this war, but like, it's one of those things, you broke it, you bought it, because now you can't leave that fucking thing a mess with no leadership, and then people like, all right, we're just all going to close the Strait of Hormuz forever. And then that'll take down the world's economy, like just, fucking nightmare. So you're going to have to bring in fucking ground troops now. Like that's the only solution. They can't do anything about the Strait of Hormuz, right? So like fucking, and nobody's like buying his bullshit about nuclear weapon. And then he's going to have this thing that happened, this event after this, right? There's another video too. Let me find that video clip. Here, let's watch the end of this.
Nobody knows who is in charge, including them. Also, we have all the cards. They have none. If they want to talk, all they have to do is call. There are a lot of remaining questions. In an interview with Axios, Trump said that this decision did not signal a return to fighting. In fact, he said, we haven't thought about it yet.
You haven't thought it? What the fuck? That's your job.
And just to highlight how fast things have been changing, on Friday, here at the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters that they had seen some progress from the Iranians.
Yeah, it's like that. Like, okay, they sure they have. It's totally progress. You can't make a deal with chaos. If no one knows in charge, it means that they can't make a deal. That this is not a government that's going to be able to sustain these promises, right? It's like if you do a regime change and there's chaos, then somebody's going to take control. And like long after you've made some kind of alleged deal and there's been promises made with people who are dead or after they've hung them because they got it, like you can't do that. There's no negotiation. Why would you even try to negotiate you're going to negotiate with some guy who is this, the acting CEO of a company when there is a hostile takeover going on. Like the guy, I mean, you're not even sure he's going to own the company, right? Like you can't do that. Well, you don't fucking, let's say there's a dispute, right? There was a time whereby years ago we were looking at the farm that we ended up buying. There's another farm for sale, and we were, looking at it. Had more land, and it kind of was better. It had a creek run through it. And we went into the house. We went over the house, and the people in there wouldn't let us in. So this was the parents had died. The last remaining living parent had died, and there was 3 siblings. And 2 of them wanted to sell the house, and one of them moved in, right? And so the realtor came by and then called the other realtor, the person representing the kids, and he kind of got the kid, when one of the kids who wanted to sell the house came over, and they kind of forced the door open, and it was like, it almost seemed like the place was a mess. It was like almost like they were doing meth, that they were like drugged, and we were like, we want no part of that, because they can't sell a house if it's in dispute, right? With the fucking, there's some, like they have to resolve the legal matters with the family before they sell it, right? And so it's just like, just a hassle. Like, who wants to, there's just no way, right? There's just no fucking way. And so, like you can't deal with somebody like that. Like, if somebody has there's no administration, there's no continuity of government. There's no, how are you going to make a fucking deal? And so Trump, didn't plan this thing out. For him to say, we haven't even thought about that yet. And then all of a sudden there's some fucking other one of these fake events. You know what I mean? So all these things are motivation and reason for staging something, but nobody's buying it, right? Nobody's buying it. People don't care about Trump anymore. They more and more people hate him, but no one gives a shit. Like no one gives a shit, right? Like the fucking, he's got his supporters, but they're not passionate anymore. There's no passionate movement. There's no MAGA anymore. It's just like all, it's chaos here, right? You're taking a limp dick, lame duck government because Trump's going to get hammered in the midterms, and his last 2 years are going to be, he's going to be able to do shit, right? It's just going to be him being, calling from the Congress and just accountability, him whining to the press about how unfair it is, all the shit he did before. And then he's going to be gone. And then fucking Republican Party is going to be in disarray. The Democratic Party is totally in disarray. And there's going to be fucking real life problems, American problems that we can't solve and no one can because it's, we're fucked. We're insolvent economically and every other way, and it's just going to go downhill from there. It's like this is the fucking end, right? This is, you're just it's like, you're living on a credit card. You've lost your job, and you don't have any prospects, and you're just living high in the hog on a credit card. But eventually, you got to make payments, right? You don't have any money, and so it's like that period of time where you're waiting to get evicted. You're waiting to get fucking them to take your credit cards away. You have no source of income, like this kind of thing. There's a period of time where you still have a credit card until you don't, and then all of a sudden everything fucking implodes. And so during that same period, this came out too.
I'm not even sure they have any mines there, by the way. I'm not sure. I'm personally, they say there might be 8. I don't know. I think there might be none because they're very good bullshit artists. That's why for 47 years they've been bullshitting other presidents, and they haven't done the job. And people are living in hell.
Okay, so first of all, do you have a feeling there's no mines? Like, are you going to get on a ship out there fucking and take a risk yourself, or what are you going to do? You're going to send... I don't even know if there's any fucking... I have a feeling, like you had a feeling about the fucking... they were going to attack first. Which is all bullshit, which was, calling him bullshit artist, he's the biggest bullshit artist out there. And that they were always bullshitting, and the other presidents get the job. No one wanted this fucking war. I mean, the neocons have wanted this war forever. But the American people and the, other administrations knew that this was a nightmare war, worse than Iraq and worse than Afghanistan. Because Iran's a totally different animal. And it comes at a time where America's weakened by all these things. Weakened by division, our, debt-based economic system collapsing, just all of it. Like, it's bad. Like, we're in disarray. This is a much worse time than it was 8, 10, 12 years ago when these other wars were going on. And those wars made a profit. This is not going to do that. And so, like, he's trying to make some kind of a deal, financial with. He wants to get some of the piece of the oil for himself, like he's just some of his grifting stuff. And they're not dealing with that, right? Like, Trump wants to have some sort of thing that where he can walk away on the global stage. Like, the American people aren't going to know. Some of them, I guess maybe much more than before, that he was getting paid, that he had grifted some money off Iran, like he's doing in Venezuela and these other things. He wants a piece of the pie. If you ever see The Apprentice show, like, there was this one where he's selling Trump water, which ended up being, he had all these businesses that failed. And he goes, the water, spring water, bottled water is a $5 billion a year business, and I want a piece of it. Like, he'd say shit like that, right? Like, that's how he thought. But, like, he put his big ugly fucking face on bottled water and called it Trump water, and nobody fucking bought it. Like Trump steaks and Trump University and Trump Bibles, right? He wants a piece of it, but he doesn't get it, right? So,
live in that country, they're living in hell. No, I think that 47 years of this stuff is long enough. They're at the weakest point they've ever been. They have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft weaponry, they have no radar, they have no communication. In fact, the biggest problem we have in our negotiation is that they can't communicate. I said to Steve, what are they saying? Sir, they can't communicate. They have no method of communication. So we're communicating like they used to communicate 2,000 years ago with children, bringing a note back and forth.
I didn't get this far. So, like, how the fuck are you going to make a deal? Like, you've taken down this is fucked. You have a broken country with lots of weapons and missiles still there. And you're going to have all these, gangs and whatever's going on. You're going to have different fractions. Divided country's a big country. You could have, like, civil war. I mean, they can't, there's no continuity. If you've taken down all their fucking communication shit, you've sent them back to the dark ages, then you can't make a fucking deal with them, right? You don't have consistent leadership. You're calling them bullshit artists? Like, maybe the kids are changing the notes out, right? And those kids aren't fucking you over with they're taking, like, hey, let's switch the notes.
They have no communication, but all I want to see is I want to have a safe world, and you're not going to have a safe world. Israel will be gone.
Yeah.
The Middle East will be gone.
Okay.
and then they're coming for Europe.
Oh, yeah, they are. That's what they're going to do. They're fucking talking about.
I'm not even sure they have any.
All right, so that's fucking, this is the day before his fake-ass shooting. And I guess there's, they said that they aren't going to release any more Epstein files Friday. There's lots of things here. But either way, there's, plenty of motivation for him to fake this fucking thing. Okay, what do we got here? This is the video from the other night. So, again, where's Benny Hill? Like this is just a fucking, I mean, the thing, it's just, why, if this is what you got, then don't show it. Like, this is, like, I mean, you couldn't get any more blurred vision. Like, this is the level of security camera they have there. It's in color. I mean, but it's basically a black and white here. And so, like, what's happening? They have black and white cameras in the lobby, but you better build that ballroom because this shit wouldn't happen then. We'll get real fucking cameras. We'll get cameras from the 1990s, not none of these 1960s, 50s black and white fucking cameras. I mean, just like the whole thing's silly. Right? I just covered this in my last video. But like, why release this? Like, it's just... Why is the guy running in like that? Like, why? What's his motivation? All right, let's find out about that guy first, I guess, next. Okay, so before we get to the latest Patsy here, Patsy there, Patsy every fucking where, right? This was, I want to show you the thing from Erica Kirk last night. Like, she's just everywhere and should be nowhere because, like, everybody fucking hates her, right? Like, they have dwindling support. She's not likable. She can't stand on her own in terms of, she's not a personality. Like, when you do any kind of social media thing, even like what I do here, you have to have some likability. You might be somebody who people really dislike or really like, but you have to have something where people like you. You can't be just a villain. I mean, there are people who are villains and people tune into them because they say things and, they're basically mining hatred, right? But, she agrees, a lot of people agree with certain things she says and her belief system, but she's just so unlikable. So this thing where she talked about count it all joy, there was a part of it that I hadn't seen before. And it's leading up to this part where she starts talking about the cereal. There's all these memes of people talking about how she has sold her mansion back to the foundation, tax-free foundation that they have, while they they're building another mansion, and she's living in a condo, an expensive condo up until that point, right? We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, and, they're trying to run this like a religion, tax-free, nonprofit. And, like, there's nothing left to it. Like, the business is done. She got her, payday. She'll get whatever. She could have some small following. But, like, immediately at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, they started showing that video of her, right? Like, it's a video that's going to, like, generate hatred. Like, that's what she's become. And she says this here.
Those of you who have gone through pain and grief and the depths of grief.
She looks up. Like, no one saw you go through depths of grief. There was never any real moment of her being grieving. Just a lot of fake crying in public. She was laughing and smiling when she wasn't in front of a camera. I mean, when she wasn't in front of a public venue. They show her, like, in private with her staff and other people laughing and smiling. She wasn't somebody who was crying all the time. Like, every time she got into, in some kind of formal setting, she would cry and play the grief card. But when she wasn't like that, she was laughing and smiling, joking around, right? Which she does a lot better. I mean, if she had been, she wasn't seen as unlikable when she was doing that because it's more authentic to who she was. She's never been likable, but she wasn't hated like she is now with the fake grief and the fake crying.
And have experienced the injustice of persecution.
There's no injustice. I mean, this is what I always say. Either God has a plan or he doesn't. Either there's a plan or there isn't a plan. There's just the two options. There can't be a partial plan, right? Like, there's got to be consciousness or not consciousness. There has to be some overriding consciousness to creation, or it's just random and chaotic. And either one, then if it's chaotic, then chaos is chaos. There's nothing fair or unfair. right? So, there's only justice, there's only injustice when there's justice, right? But when it's chaotic and everything's random, then there's no, why are you crying about like how things are unfair? It's either there's chaos or there's not. But if there's a plan, then this is God's plan, and there's order to the universe, and you're getting exactly what you deserve, right? There's consciousness behind everything. Everything's planned, down to the smallest detail. And so people who believe in God, there's no injustice, right? Like it's, Jesus didn't suffer injustice if you believe in that official Christian story, which was that he was, God wanted him to be sacrificed. Of course he wouldn't. Like it's a fucked up thing to think God likes sacrifices, right? God allows people to do stupid shit, right? Like that's part of the fucking, part of the whatever it is. People can choose to do the wrong thing. And so that's part of it, right? But you suffering on the other end of that, there has to be some reason for it. Like you're not, like you don't have to suffer, right? Like that's a choice. That's a part of your plan. That's part of your script, right? But anyways, she's also talking about it like she doesn't deserve what she's getting. Like there's no sense of like what she's done to piss people off. Like it's 100% them just sucking. She's a complete victim. Like she's great, and people just don't recognize how great she is. I mean, her sad fucking pouty face now.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Like those crazy eyes right there.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Like that shit, right? Like, yeah, we don't know. We know what you're trying to say, but we don't agree with it, right?
And we all have our own cross to carry.
Again, with the crazy fucking eyes. Do you? Like, your cross to carry was that you suck. Like, fucking, like, you thought you were going to be, ride this grief train, and people are going to be like, oh my God, you're so great. And, the cries of this widow will be heard throughout the world, right? The cry.
All of us. And one night in our kitchen area.
So then she gets into the crazy cereal story. But, so that was her last thing. She went to these pastors, and she talked shit to them and said, my husband died for citing the scripture, which isn't the case. I mean, whatever happened there, that wasn't about the scripture. I mean, that was him saying controversial political shit in terms of the official story and the furry. But she chastised them for not taking a stand politically, and that they should stand up politically like her husband. Right? And then she goes from saying that to this thing.
I just want to go cry.
Okay, so, like, the crying thing is always a problem for me.
I just want to go cry. I just want to go cry.
Like, why are you there anyway? You're not a part of the press. You're not part of the media. You're not liked there. Trump might give you a shout out because that's what he does, but it's not really working for him. He's probably going to cut you loose when he realizes how bad you have it, right? And so why are you there? You got a couple kids at home. There's no reason for you to be there. And like now this is everywhere. And again, I did, see other stuff from Erica Kirk on Twitter, so they're going to recommend this. But this is one of the big videos. This is one of the big takeaways. Her fucking crying again. And I just want to go home after telling all those pastors they need to stand up. And she was at no threat. Neither was anybody else. Like, she's just crying, what, because this reminded you of Charlie? Like, come on, fucking, it's just stupid. Like, this re-traumatized you? Like, why are you going there in the first fucking place? It has nothing to do with you, and, it's a hostile environment. The majority of media people there are fucking liberal people. It's contentious. And you got a couple kids at home, and you got a business you got to run into the fucking ground, right? You're going to fucking be whining here with all your bullshit. Like this, I just want to go home. Knowing where the camera is. I mean, always. Like, she's just always, they always weave her into a narrative, and it's always something that's going to make people hate her, right? All right, so that's Erica J. Kirk. Now, speaking of the other Patsy. Okay. According to Cole Thomas Allen Lincoln, he's international at NASA in 2014. In 2014, NASA published a paper, and Henry Martinez was the author. An ex-user named Henry Martinez made a single post on December 21st, 2021. The post simply said, Cole Allen. That's fucking crazy. Why was Cole Allen searched in Israel 12 hours before attempted assassination? Hours after the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting and internet on fire with theories tying it to Israel, Cole Allen, the WHCD shooter, uploaded a photo of himself on Instagram. This is the one before. You know, why would they do that? Like, why would they not scrub that ahead of time? Like, it's silly. Like, are they so incompetent in Mossad and the American government not to make sure this guy doesn't have any ties to Israel? Like, this is just mostly shit people are making up. But here's the guy here, in his own words, local news station. He's doing stuff with wheelchairs.
College student Cole Allen developed a prototype for a wheelchair emergency brake.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground. The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
Okay. I understand you're limited because you're a college student, but this PVC is, you know, it's got some kind of wheels here. I mean, I don't know how this works. Now, it makes sense you need something. Of course, this would be a prototype. But PVC, you know, he's got this thing on the ground, a half-cut PVC, which would probably break in cement, you know, whatever. I'm fucking around with this. But, you know.
Prevent it from moving at all.
Recent Aging into the Future conference held by St. Barnabas Senior Services and the Eisner Foundation offered a test run on products that have the potential to enrich the lives of seniors.
14 different tech startups got to present to...
Okay, so this is bullshit here. So here's the guy here.
College student Cole Allen developed a prototype.
Right here.
College student Cole Allen developed a prototype for a wheelchair emergency brake.
The wheelchair brakes.
Okay, seems a little bit effeminate. He's from California, and for some reason he was able to access guns and get to Washington, D.C., and then run through the thing, you know, and I don't know if he's dead or alive. I'm not sure what year this is. I don't know how young he is. But, you know, I saw, like, Free Zakaria ate breakfast late, and he was interviewing somebody, and they were talking about this. The guy said, you know, this is a bunch of disgruntled people who are mad, have irrational anger towards the ruling class. He didn't say ruling class, but he said it was, you know, liberals and conservatives and, you know, all these Democrats and Republicans. And all these people who are growing dissatisfied with these, you know, piece of shit, right? And it's irrational. You know, the irrational anger. Like, it's not. Like, in this kid, whatever's a patsy, this whole thing is fake as fuck. And so, you know, this is Cole J. Allen. There he is, face down. They're really pushing the IDF stuff. You know, like if this is a real picture, then that's intentional, right? So that seems to be everything to do with him here. Thomas Allen from Torrance, California. I'm tired of the theater. Anyone lone shooter somehow smart enough to get through the best security in the world, fire multiple times as they told us, and hit no one, but still traumatized everyone. Yeah, it's just fake. And so, you know, it's all fake, and there's all this stuff. There's J.D. Vance getting yanked out. You know, I don't know what's going to come out. I'm sure people leave stuff in the comment section and send me shit. But, like, you know, none of this stuff can be believed. A picture of Cole Allen from college. So there he is. All right. That's the patsy. That's the latest patsy. Is this him here? Here he is with his family. Or somebody. You know. Teacher of the Month, Cole Allen. Torrance, California. Mostly the IDF picture is the big thing here. All right. So that's the latest patsy. meet your latest patsy. Okay, so this is Erica Kirk leaving the White House. She gave a smile and she fake cried. RFK Jr. being dragged away, not taking care of his wife, leaving his wife behind. All right, so here he is. They grab him, and pregnant woman, and there's his wife. Look. Hey, can I get in here, fellas? Fellas, can I get in here? So, there's this woman's taking a bottle of champagne. So make sure I get some champagne. Let's steal some booze. These are great. There's some IDF thing there. There's a guy with the IDF. Cash Patel during the thing, he's just sitting there because he's such a tough guy. And so there's, look, Trump tomorrow. He's got a fucking maxi pad. See, they're all stealing my shit, right? They said how he had a maxi pad in his side of his ear. Everybody's, you know, look at these dogs barking. And I guess we're outside of it there, J.D. Vance going through it. There's some guy just standing there eating his food. You know, pregnant with Stephen Miller hiding from his pregnant wife. And so, some guy catching a foul ball. All right, I guess that's it. We're into fucking puppy land here because I watched that puppy video the other day. Where those two dogs, you know, that one dog was scared. Anyways. Okay, here comes Trump emerging from behind the wall. You know, he's just broken and he's just dead inside. And there's his fucking...
Well, thank you very much.
His weird wife.
That was very unexpected, but incredibly acted upon by Secret Service and...
All right, so I covered this the other night. Let's get to the ballroom.
A little bit different because today we need levels of security that probably nobody's ever seen before. But everyone owes a tremendous debt of gratitude to the current. But we were, First Lady and I were taken very well care of very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
See the attacker totally subdued and under control. So as you know, this is not the first time in the past couple of years that our
Yeah, you know, why would the guy be dead? Like, they were firing guns at him, right? Like, they're from pretty close range. Why isn't this guy dead? You know, he's subdued.
The public has been attacked by a would-be assassin who sought to kill in Butler, Pennsylvania, less than 2 years ago. You all know that story. And
yeah, it's all fake, and everyone's kind of realizing it's fake now. You know, many of us knew right away, but now fucking people are finally coming around, which is sad and pathetic, right?
Beach, Florida, a few months after that.
Another fake fucking thing.
We came close. We really had, again, we had some great work done by law enforcement. But in light of this evening's events, I ask that all Americans recommit with their hearts in resolving our difference peacefully. We have to...
Are you shitting me? You're the most divisive person in history. You're a lying, pathetic piece of shit. And you think that people are going to get together because of this fake fucking thing? Yeah, we're all united in calling it fake. Now you've successfully united all the people who are awake and conscious, whether they left-wing, right-wing people who ask questions, people with some measure of critical thinking skills. Yeah, well, everyone now knows it's fake as fuck and you're a piece of shit. Great, good job. You've united all the thinking people, and all the sheeple are just fucking, you know, they're going to be sheeple anyway. And so, like, what are you talking about here? Look at his fucking eyes. He's just like...
We have to resolve our differences. I will say, you had Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, liberals, and progressives. Those words are interchangeable, perhaps, but maybe they're not. But yet everybody in that room, big crowd, record-setting crowd. There was a record-setting group of people. And there was a tremendous amount of love and coming together. I watched...
So all we need is an active shooter, and we can all come together. That people would rather, you know, work together and hide away from, you know, an active shooter and forget their differences momentarily because there's fucking bullets flying. So is that how we resolve our differences? Just put an active shooter everywhere. Whenever there's a conflict, whenever there's, like, people are arguing about politics over Thanksgiving, that some active shooter comes into the house and starts firing, not into the house, someone who's outside the house and starts firing weapons. randomly, his shotgun up in the air or something, and everybody gets down on the floor and they stop arguing about Republican and Democrat shit? Is that what we're working for?
I watched and I was very, very impressed by that. But we were...
When were you watching? When they fucking marched you to the backs of the stage and laid you on the floor? And there was people in there stealing fucking liquor and shit, leaving their wives behind.
Slade and I were taken very well care of, very quickly rushed off the stage. Vice President J.D. Vance, who's here, was likewise...
There was no threat. Okay, so, like, let's say this thing happened and it was, like, not planned, which it is. They stopped it before, you guys kind of... People didn't even really hear gunshots. It wasn't until everyone stormed in that they knew anything was going on. People weren't scared. There's one guy sitting there eating his mashed potatoes. I don't need to... We've probably already seen that one. I don't need to find it. But, no one was freaked out. Like, just like at Butler, like, no one knew. No one really heard the shots. There's no real fucking thing. But he was stopped at the perimeter. You guys, if you were really not such a... this is a pussification of America. If you believed in your security, there should be no one in there with a fucking gun other than your security team. And there was no one in the room with you. So you had under zero fucking threat. The thing didn't have to be canceled. There should have been resolved. Okay, we just had a shooter outside. But it's a bullshit thing, like staged and whatever. Nobody's freaked out. Maybe some of your dumb fuck followers at Fox News and all that bullshit. These two fucking tards.
Beautifully done. He was just saying how quickly everybody acted, law enforcement, Secret Service in particular in this case, but law enforcement. Marco had the same thing. Pete was there. Pete didn't want any help. He didn't want anybody to help him. He doesn't want anybody to help him, but he did get some, didn't you?
He's a big tough guy, Pete. He's bulletproof, that motherfucker. He's just not scared of bullets. He was in the National Guard, for fuck's sake.
And I think you also said that it was very impressive. So with that, I'd like to ask Todd Blanche to...
it doesn't matter whether they want help or not. It's fucking... the Secret Service don't give a shit about I'll do it myself. No, that's that fucking shit, right?
Come up, say a few words, and tell you it's already underway. The man has been captured.
The patsy?
They're going to his apartment. I guess he lives in California. And he's a sick person, a very sick person.
Very sick person, pretty sick. Like he has AIDS and shit.
And we don't want things like this to happen. I think it's very important that I say
we don't want these things to happen?
And I told the representatives of the evening, they did such a beautiful job. It was such a beautiful evening. And again, they're talking about free speech in our Constitution. That's what it's all about, not just...
I thought the hokey pokey was what it's all about.
White House correspondence. It was really based on free speech in our Constitution. But I said very importantly that we'll do it again within the next 30 days, and we'll make it bigger and better and even nicer.
Bigger and better, even nicer in the ballroom. Fuck you.
So I just want to thank everybody that was involved. I also want to thank the press, the media. You've been very responsible in your coverage. I will say I've been seeing what's been out. You've been very responsible. So, Todd Blanche, I'd like to say a few words.
You mean he's responsible that they're not calling bullshit, how fake it is, because they really can't? Because once they said this is fake, then they have to go back and say Butler's fake, and then they have to go back and say fucking all these other things are fake, because they're all fucking fake, and they're all staged, and then, it's not just the Republicans are fake stuff, but it's the Democrats were doing it first, and then you're going back for years and all the way back to 9/11. So fucking, you can't open those can of worms, and they all know it's fucking fake. They can't say it because they suck and the news sucks. You suck. You all fucking sucks.
So then we're going to have cash, and then you're going to go on. We can ask, I guess we can take a couple of questions. I want to thank the First Lady that was a rather traumatic experience for her.
She peed herself.
There was a lot of action taking place up there very quickly. But again, the response time was really incredible. And we're going to reschedule. We're going to do it again. We're not going to let anybody take over our society. We're not going to cancel things out.
You just canceled it. It just was fucking canceled. What are you talking about? You had somebody stopped at the perimeter, and you guys were all running around like fucking cowards.
Because because we can't do that. We wanted to stay tonight, I will tell you.
Either you have security that makes sure that nobody gets in with a fucking weapon, or you don't have events, right? Like if there was any real concern that somebody was there to assassinate you, when some guy ran down the hall and shot a fucking, a police guy and a fucking policeman or whatever it was, in the chest with a bulletproof, in a bulletproof vest, and like what the fuck out he was that shirtless dude, who seemed kind of like sort of a gay pussy, but then California liberal somehow has access to firearms and made it that far, but no one ever gets hurt. Or that they just say somebody dies and you're like, there's no fucking evidence or proof for you to, other than the bullshit they provide. But in this case, the guy, nothing happened. It was just like some guy fired off a gun and was subdued. Like, that's it, on the perimeter. And so if you guys believed in the security, then you'd be like, yeah, but the security's tight here and there's no one to get in here. Because, like, if it's not tight, then you shouldn't be out there, right? Like, if somebody could have gotten in, then this would be like lock solid. There's no chance that any of these people are going to stand up and kill the president, right? Otherwise, then you have no security. Like, that's, But you did, because the guy got stopped on the perimeter and he didn't hurt anybody.
I fought like hell to stay. But they,
yeah, I did. I said, fight, fight, fight. I was fucking, I did. I was taking swings at the Secret Service and,
protocol, they said, please, sir, because they didn't know there was a lot of action going on, and they didn't know, could there be probably a lone shooter, but we'll find out. We'll find out very quickly.
Yeah, now what about a butler? When they got what they consider a lone shooter, when he was standing up, he was sitting on a fucking roof with a rifle, and the counter snipers could see him but didn't take him out until he fired these shots, allegedly. This perfect shot that hit the perfect angle and just somehow, whizzed by your monstrous fucking pumpkin head and then just nicked your ear, but really not at all. And so then they marched you across the stage and let your head be up in front of a crowd in Butler that was much more insecure, much less secure, right? And so, like, it's just silly. Like, fucking, it's silly, the whole thing. I mean, the Secret Service were like WWE guys that let you pump your fist in the air and mouth fucking fight, 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 while ketchup dried on your fucking fat old face, right?
They have it very well under control. So I want to thank everybody very much. And Todd Blanche, please.
Come on, Todd. Get up there, fucking. This personal fucking lawyer, Todd Blanche. Don't you have to go make a deal with Ghislaine Maxwell, you fuck?
Very much, Mr. President.
This is his personal lawyer that became second in command under Pam Bondi and was in charge of Trump's former personal attorney of interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell.
Tonight you saw the very worst and the very best of this country.
It was so great.
You saw the very worst by the actions of that coward that the president just talked about.
That fucking coward. Fuck that guy.
But you also saw the very best because you saw law enforcement do exactly what they're supposed to do.
Exactly. Those guys are fucking amazing.
And you'll see the videos come out, I expect, very shortly, and you'll see law enforcement do exactly what we want them to do. And so I echo what what President Trump just said, that we are extraordinarily grateful and appreciative of the men and women of law enforcement that did their jobs tonight, including one who was injured. This investigation is ongoing. I expect you will see charges filed shortly.
Yeah, we're going to execute this guy tomorrow, like this motherfucker. We're not going to go do some lengthy trial. This Patsy, we got, like, why didn't they kill it? How the guy not, if a guy comes in firing fucking weapons in a room full of cops, how is he not dead? Like, how is he not, they didn't hit him at all. They didn't shoot him. They didn't get one fucking bullet off, right? This guy's not, what, they tased him? Like, what the fuck? Don't tase me, bro. Like, if a guy comes in and it's an active shooter, he shouldn't have made it that far. Like, no, that shit's real. But, like, the whole thing. Fucking, it's just so stupid. Look at this grumpy, broken piece of shit. Look at this frowny motherfucker. Him and Erica Kirk wear the same fucking expression. Two beating people, this drunk fuck here and this. All right, let's go to Kash Patel.
Justice will be served. Thank you.
Justice will be served, just like with Ghislaine Maxwell. Maybe we can put her into, give this guy some kind of, make some deal that if he doesn't rat out Trump, he can get a cushy deal like Ghislaine Maxwell.
Thank you, General. Thank you, Mr. President.
General?
The president's
You mean Attorney General?
absolutely right. You saw the best resolve of American law enforcement because you, Mr. President, inspire them 24/7, 365.
You pat him on the back. You pat him on fucking... Because you, Mr. President, inspire him. Why does he have to take any credit for this?
You, Mr. President, inspire them 24/7, 365.
Kiss ass. Like, fucking get on your knees and lick his taint, you piece of shit.
The resources that they need, and they know that you have their back.
Okay, so otherwise, this guy would have got in there and shot fucking Clinton or Obama, or, you know, well, fuck you, right? Like, why didn't we? What inspired them to not have Clinton or Obama or these other Democrats shot, right?
And that is a changing dynamic in this country, and that's why you saw brave Secret Service agents respond immediately, swiftly, subdue and take down the suspect, and safeguard the lives of thousands of individuals at that hotel.
Man, it was amazing. They're like fucking superheroes. What fucking... Let's get fucking... Yes, give them a round of fucking applause here. Woo! Fucking kick ass, yeah. USA, US gay, US gay.
Thanks to our interagency partnership with the Department of Homeland Security and the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI was rapidly deployed onto the scene, took over the evidence response unit, is examining...
How's it, you know what? We know this is fake because this motherfucker's sober, right? Like, this was a thing where they all go get drunk, and this guy was partying with the team, the hockey team, and, he's been drinking in the morning and coming in drunk and delaying meetings, and he's sober for this thing. They're like, hey, don't drink tonight. You're going to have to go out there and talk about this patsy and this fake shooter. You drunk, right?
All the ballistics that were found on scene, to include the long gun and the shell casings. We are conducting witness interviews as we speak.
He's taking Adderall. He's not even just sober, like he's on fire. He maybe snorted some coke or something. He's Valhalla. See you in Valhalla.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, we'll do a couple and then we go to the chief. Madam Chairman, I just want to say you did a fantastic job. What a beautiful evening, and we're going to reschedule.
Woo! US gay, US gay, US gay.
After that, it's very tough for her to ask a killer question, right?
A killer question.
You've done a fantastic job, please.
Mr. President, I appreciate it. As you mentioned, it all happened so quickly, and I wonder, especially because unfortunately you have experience
with these fake fucking staged events before, where you did really bad acting and it was like dumb fucks. And tell me how does your experience being a fucking B-level actor and a faker and a liar and a grifter help you out with this fake situation?
These sorts of threats. In that moment, when you realized there was a threat and service agents were telling us to get down, can you describe what was going through your mind, how you were feeling in that moment?
That's a very good question, actually.
It was a great question, fucking great question. Like, anything that's not about how fake this is a great question.
It's always shocking when something like this happens.
It's just, I'm shocked. I'm so totally shocked. Even though I knew it was going to happen ahead of time, I'm like totally shocked.
It's happened to me a little bit.
Little bit. Remember, a little bit. That's what he said on Joe Rogan. So let's show that when I got that meme here with Joe Rogan in his ear.
Right over here.
Oh, it's a tiny little
See,
mark.
it zicked right there.
Yeah. But it healed up pretty fucking good.
Well, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's little.
No, you didn't
it's
get
a little bit.
cauliflower.
No. The point of the bullet was a little of the S, but you see the thing's taken off a little bit. That never changes. The fact we were sitting right next to each other, First Lady on my right, and I heard a noise, and sort of thought it was a tray. I thought it was a tray going down. I've heard that many times, and it was a pretty loud noise. And it was from quite far away. He hadn't reached the area at all.
Exactly what I've been saying. It was far away. The bullets couldn't even reach you. Never mind fucking, you couldn't get a shot off. Like, it's fucking stupid. It was on the perimeter, and the perimeter is there to stop people. So that meant there was no security breach. And so this was a non-event. Like, if this had happened to any other president, any other time, they would have just, if it wasn't fake or staged, if it was an important event that Trump didn't want to get out of, and this wasn't supposed to be a big distraction, they would have just said, hey, the shooter, what happened outside. When I first heard Trump got shot, the Butler thing, or there was guns fired at this event, And then it's like, oh, he got shot. And I'm like, what? And then we watched it, and my wife will go, he got shot. I'm like, no, it's fucking fake. I'm like, it's fucking fake. It's so fucking fake. And so they didn't need to react like that. There was zero evidence that this guy was part of some plan. And if there was a shooter in the room, what do you think they would have done? You think that they would have had someone fire outside so that everyone would be alerted? Like, it's not some fucking distraction. The person would have had, guy just got up and shot Trump. Like, Trump, if someone's sitting out there, it's a very casual event. The idea is that there's no weapons inside other than security. And if somebody could smuggle in a weapon, then Trump shouldn't be out there, and none of these other people. Because, he's in the middle of a war. He's just assassinated a bunch of people. The Iranians might have sleeper cells here. Maybe somebody in the press, right? Who fucking knows? And so if you can't guarantee that there's nobody in there, then you wouldn't have the event to start off with. But this guy being stopped at the perimeter should not have affected what happens inside, right?
They really got him. But, so it was quite far away, but it was a gun. And
allegedly,
Some people really understood that pretty quickly. Other people didn't.
Yeah, well, that's like he's just telling you how fake it was. Because nobody even heard it. Like they said, this was a tray dropped. Nobody thought it was serious, and it wasn't serious. There's nothing in there, right? There's no reason for him to leave the room. It was just silly. Like, it's a fucking silly little thing.
Watching to see what was happening. Probably should have gone down even faster. Melania was very cognizant, I think, of what happened. I think she knew immediately what happened. She was saying, that's a bad noise.
That's a bad noise.
And we were whisked away along with other people, but we were really whisked away. And again, the performance of the Secret Service.
I never seen such great Secret Service.
The police, all of the law enforcement, I thought was really good. So it was very quick. There wasn't a lot of time to be thinking, because it was a matter of seconds before we were out the door and gone into an area. We very much, and you wanted to too, we very much wanted to continue it, because I don't like to let these sick people, these thugs, these horrible, horrible people.
Thugs? You would say this guy's a thug, right? The sick people. I don't like these horrible people wreck our night of fucking, making fun of each other and talking about fucking, the shitty media with the shitty fucking politicians. These horrific fucking people.
Change the fabric of our life, change the course of what we do. So we held out. You were there. We held out right till the end, but they didn't want to take a chance, and I understand there was protocol. But we're going to be doing one hopefully within the next 30 days or sooner, and I am ready, willing, and able. And I was all set to really rip it. And I said to my people...
And then I got picked up and I ripped it in my pants and my diaper and like...
This would be the most inappropriate speech ever made if I said one. So I'll have to save it. I don't know if I could ever be as rough as I was going to be tonight. I think I'm going to be probably very nice.
I remember they said that about whatever happened with, was it right after Butler, and you were saying, oh my God, I'm going to be a new Trump and I'm going to be positive and all that shit.
Boring the next time, but we're going to have a great event. And you did a fantastic job. Thank you very much.
Thank
Peter,
you.
Thank you, President Trump. There's a report in the New York Post that this assailant assembled his weapon somewhere on site at the hotel. What do you think about that? And I ask respectfully, why do you think this keeps happening to you?
Why does it keep on happening? My God. He asked the woman who was in charge of the event, who was sitting next to him, that was the woman sitting next to him. And now he's going to Peter fucking Ducey, right? And no one's there going to, look at his eyes are dead. Like he's just a walking zombie now.
Well, I've studied assassinations.
I have. I'm such a studious person. I'm so thoughtful, and I really like to find things out. That's why I watch Fox fucking News and Fox News alone, and don't listen to my briefings or any other thing. But I know about assassinations. And
I must tell you, the most impactful people, the people that do the most, you take a look at the people, Abraham.
It's a fake fuck, you fuck, right? It's because he's doing so much and he's so great.
Lincoln, I mean, you go through the people that have gone through this where they got them. But the people that do the most, the people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. They don't go after the ones that don't do much because they like it that way.
Who's they? Who's they? So crazy fuck thugs. What are you? What are you saying? These individual lone shooters. You know, I've said this for years. Whenever there's a lone shooter, it makes no sense. And they all have it. Like, this guy got a manifesto. Remember, they used to always write manifestos, and then they realized people were picking up on that. It's the whole fucking thing. Like, doesn't make any sense at all. Like, they get to blame. Then everybody's a suspect. Anybody posting anything on social media that's, oh my God, this guy could be a lone shooter. Like, they can just, demonize anybody. This guy's a terrorist, right? So they want to make it individuals, not a collective group of people. But then he's talking about they. Who's they? Who's they? Is it Israel, right? Is it the liberals? It's the Democrats? They all, you're doing too much good, and so is it Satan? Is it demons? What is it? Who's they? Like you said, it was this low, crazy fuck.
And when you look at the people that have either, whether it was an attempt or a successful attempt, they're very impactful people. Just take a look at the names there, the big names. And I hate to say I'm honored by that, but I've done a lot. We've done a lot. We've taken this country, and we were a laughing stock for years.
Jesus Christ, you stop repeating this bullshit? Like, you only have to say it once, and either people get it or not, right? Do you want fucking credit? Like, what credit is there, right? Like, for what? Like, this fucking mess that you've left? You're dead inside. This war is fucking you over. Israel fucked you. You're down to doing desperate shit like this, right?
And now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world.
We're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And like that kind of thing, I mean, that's when you get assassinated.
This country. And there are a lot of people that are not happy about that. So I think that's the answer, Peter.
And after Butler, your team for a while.
It seems like the people usually, like if you look at RFK and JFK, for example, they were going after Israel, right? And also the military-industrial complex and the CIA and the intelligence community. And so, take your pick, right? And so this, random crazy individuals, you can't put a dogma on them. Like if these lone shooters were true, then there'd be like, why are people like this, right? Why are individuals like this? But it's always about they. Like, you talk about how it's the patsy, it's just one crazy disturbed person, and then you talk about they. Erica Kirk and all these people. It's a they. Who's the they? Who's the they, them?
Rethought outdoor events.
Yeah.
Do you think that you now need to rethink
No.
indoor events?
Well, but then you just don't do events. No, I can't do that.
I can't do that. I got to do events.
I have to, it is what it is. We have to do it. The room was...
The tough guy, yeah. They're gonna fucking... I mean, you might get some guy in the perimeter run by and shoot some guy in his bulletproof vest. And then they tackle the guy and don't kill him. For God knows what reason. They're going to have some bullshit trial, like for 2 years.
Very, very secure. He charged from 50 yards away. So he was very far away from the room.
It took him 50 yards away. Some guy's running down the hall with a gun with loaded with security, and nobody saw until he got close to that one cop. Shot him in the bulletproof vest. It's like he was playing tag. Gotcha. Like,
What do you think when you saw the video of how fast he was running?
He was moving. He was really moving. And the reaction time was great. Boy, those guys, they had their guns drawn literally by the time he was there. They were shooting.
That's right.
I thought they were very impressive.
the other thing about that is, why did no one else get shot? Like, where's the bullets going? If you use any kind of firearms, I mean, if you take any kind of firearm class and you listen to people talk about firearms, firearm safety, you realize that if your bullet misses the target, where does it go? Right? Like, we went to a shooting range where there's a giant hill, like a 14, 15-foot hill, a mound of dirt. And, it's an outdoor thing. The indoor ones are brutal. They're so loud, it's just, it's kind of the energy in there. But, you need something to make sure the bullet, and it has to be thick enough that the bullet isn't going to land in somebody's fucking house or whatever it might be, right? And so you have a building full of people. And if everyone starts discharging their firearms into this guy, and, I mean, they have to shoot him because he's, the people inside the president are more important. But, oftentimes they shoot each other, friendly fire. This is the thing, right? Like, where do the bullets go if you miss the guy? Like, you got to look behind the guy, right? It's like when a quarterback throws to a receiver, they got to look in front of the receiver so they don't lead him into some fucking defensive back or safety or linebacker who's going to light him up, right? Like you have to have this like understanding of, okay, the path of the bullet. How far is this bullet going to travel? And you can't, like, if we have a coyote in our yard, just can't shoot at the thing if it's going to go flying into your neighbor's house, right? You just, you have to take some responsibility for the path of the bullet. And these guys are all firing at this guy and they miss him. Like, where'd all the bullets go? Like, I mean, you had like 5, 6 guys all firing. There's a great video of when there's one of those fake events in France, maybe the Ariana Grande thing. I can't remember which one she was part of. Was she in England? I don't know. There's this thing in France that happened. And there was French police firing at this guy, the suspect. He was in like a convenience store type of place. And there were cops behind cops firing into the backs of other cops. It's clear they were using blanks. Otherwise, they would have been shooting their fellow officers, right? And so the whole thing, it's just silly.
I thought they were very impressive. And if I didn't, I'd let you know. I'm not going to be, I would not stand for that. No, I thought they were very impressive.
Why are they always impressive when it's fake?
Thank you, President Trump, and thank you for updating us on the suspect earlier. Were you aware of any threats? Was your team aware of any threats beforehand? And do you believe you were the target of this tonight?
I guess. I mean, these people they're crazy.
They're crazy, these people. Who are these people? Like, it's like a society of lone shooters that get trained and they all have the same psychological makeup. But they're not connected. They don't go through a school. They don't know. They're loners, all this kind of stuff. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about, right?
They're crazy, and, you never know. He was very far away from me. He had to go through a lot. We had resources all over. We had resources sitting at tables, literally in disguise, sitting maybe at your table. Who knows? But we had people all over the room. So
maybe it was Linda McMahon. Is she those crazy eyes?
Had a long way to go. That was really a first line of defense, and they got him. And they really, they acted incredibly. No, there was no notification. We had no idea. Go ahead, Kevin.
There's no notification? That means there's notification. Do you think the guy called you up and said, hey, guess what? Coming to get you, right? After I finish with this wheelchair invention,
Well, you never know. Now, we'll be able to tell you that maybe by tomorrow or the next day. He's in custody, and they're asking him a lot of questions. I guess they're going over, Todd, and they're already at his apartment. He lives in California.
Yes, sir.
And they're over there, so they'll be able to tell you. Thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you, Caitlin. All of a sudden, like, what, she's not fake news anymore? Like, it's a kumbaya moment because she's, like, asking you real questions? Thank you, Caitlin. You're so sweet, Caitlin. You're so wonderful. What a great journalist. Why not? What happened to the fake news?
President Trump, did the suspect say anything, or was he wearing anything that would allege some type of motive here?
No, I mean, he was a guy who looked pretty evil when he was down. They had him down. He was fighting hard. He was, in my opinion, a sick person. Who would do that but a sick person?
Exactly. Only sick people do that kind of thing.
But I think you're going to find everything about him. No reason to talk about it now. But tomorrow at this time, long before this time,
we're going to roll out the whole portfolio, everything we have on him. We'll give you all the information. That's a day 2 thing. It's not a day 1 thing, you guys. Come on, you guys know the fucking schedule. They saw this in the JFK movie. They have these information packets they roll out. And for some reason, someone got the timing wrong, and they rolled out the JFK assassination stuff in, like, New Zealand. Some fucking foreign country, so I think it was New Zealand. Like a day ahead of time, right? Like they have day 1 stuff, then the day 2 stuff. They try to keep these stories going, like anything that's, and then it resolves itself. Like Luigi Mangione, first they get the guy, oh, here's the guy, and then when they figure out who he is, oh, we got the guy, and then they catch the guy, and then he's arraigned in court. They try to keep these things going, Charlie Kirk stuff, right? But they have these packets of information. This, it's a script. It's like, you're watching a movie or TV show, and they're unrolling the mystery, and they give you a little bit of tidbit of information here and that, that shit. But it's day 1, day 2, right? And there has to be a victim. Who's the victim here? Like, this isn't going to stick because there's no real victim. Some cop who was, took one in the bulletproof vest, And then, then all the people who got cheated out of this wonderful event, that they were going to have, and they're going to have again. Fucking, Trump says, so we're going to be mild. Like, he thinks it's going to bring everyone together. And, like, we almost lost the president. We're going to, fucking, let's not arguing about this silly Iran war and these $10 a gallon gas prices. And let's all get along.
A lot of things about him. They seem to think he was a lone wolf, and
It was crazy, these lone wolves. He's a fucking lone wolf.
I feel that too.
Are you concerned about
I feel that too. Yeah, I got a gut feeling about him being a lone wolf.
Service protection ability? We saw several of the detailees take minutes to be escorted out the room.
No, they acted very quickly. No, I was very impressed by Secret Service. I mean, I'm the one, and Mark Wayne, you would agree with that, I think. Absolutely. I'm the one that
Polo.
would complain. You don't have to complain.
That's a new thing I'm just doing now. Every time I hear Marco, I got to say Polo. It probably won't last because I'll forget. Thank you for your service.
For me, I would be complaining. I'd be up here right now saying they didn't do their job. Oh, believe me.
And then they'd be like, hey, it was fake as fuck. So, yeah, we did do our job because it was fake.
Oh, it's my life. And I want to live because I want to make this country great. That's
my whole reason for living is to make America great again, which I'm clearly doing because there's lone wolf guys coming after me.
I want to live. But when you're impactful, they go after you.
Exactly. You were great. We were doing your fucking job. That's what they do. I mean, it's just it's not like when you just criticize Israel and next thing you're dead. I mean, it's not like that, right?
You're not impactful. They leave you alone. Okay, a couple of more. Go ahead, please.
Is there any indication that this shooting could have been linked to the war in Iran?
I don't think so, but you never know. We're going to know a lot.
We're going to know a little, not
we have the best people in the world working on it. And
they are the best people. They're going to get to the bottom of this fucking scripted event. They're going to get to the bottom of the story that we wrote.
We're going to know a lot, please.
Mr. President, there's a lot. You, as well as some of us who have covered Butler, experienced another horrific day 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What felt similar? You had the First Lady with you today. What felt different? And you have another 2+ years in office. Are you concerned about something like this happening
Well, I
again?
can't be concerned. I can only get great people. They did the job. In my opinion, a much better job than Butler. Butler had one weak spot that we all know about. Somebody should have been up there. But even Butler, we had a...
Butler was a fucking shit show. They should have never let you get off the ground until they cleared the audience and cleared the venue. And if they brought you to the car, they should have shielded you, not let you stand up immediately and start pumping your fists and saying, fight, fight, fight. Like, that was, egregious. Like, no one knew if there was a second shooter in a very insecure event because some guy got in there walking around with a rangefinder in his hand, climbed up on a roof. There's counter snipers that could have taken him out, but they watched him for 8 minutes. And then after he started firing, they finally shot the fucking guy. That's the official fucking story, amongst other things. It was a disaster. And you praised them because it was fake as fuck. So you had to. It was WWE.
Our sniper on our side, within 4.2 seconds from a distance of about 400 yards.
It was like 100 yards.
One shot, and he was gone. And if he didn't do it, now, he's David. His name was David. I say, hello, David, every time I see him. David, I like you very much, David. But think of that.
It was David. David's the greatest.
Now, if he doesn't hit him, and he hit him right between the eyes from 400 yards, without any notice, nobody knew. He heard a sound. He looked over, and there was actually a tree that was somewhat in his way. You know the story very well. And
none of these things are true. I covered this extensively. I showed you, whatever the photos we had, the things. If you know anything about, he say he hit him right between the eyes from 400 yards, which is a long shot. Now, the guy was, the sniper was like about 150 yards from Trump, so it was about the same distance. The counter snipers were on the roof right behind Trump, but he had more of a direct shot. But there was, a screen that Trump was pointing to that was in the way of the sniper. That's the whole thing. Trump was staring at the screen. The screen was perpendicular to Trump, and he turned, so he was parallel to it, like he was facing the screen. And that's what where they had these statistics about immigration, and the sniper would have had to be directly behind that screen to hit him in the ear, right? He would have to be parallel, perpendicular to Trump, right? Where the bullet would have had to be like at a, at zero angle, like something that would just nick his ear and not hit his head, not hit his front of the head or his back of his head. I talk about this extensively in my videos. But the sniper, if he heard a sound, when you're looking through a scope, it's hard to see shit. Like if you're looking through binoculars, you got to kind of take the binoculars away and make sure you're focused in the right spot. Like it takes a while, and he has a guy up there that's like a spotter, and he's got to tell the guy where it is, and then the guy's got to lock in on the guy, and the guy's moving a little bit, right? And so the fact that he would have heard a sound would have taken him minutes before he locked in on the target. So he had to have the target locked in as soon as the guy started to fire shots, right? Because it was seconds after you could hear the shot that killed the sniper. It was probably the last shot you heard, right? Unless they fired simultaneously. So Trump's story is bullshit. Like the whole story, he keeps on changing it. It doesn't add up. But these guys will never call bullshit on it because they can't, these media people.
He aimed, he fired, and if he didn't do that, beyond me, you would have had a lot more people killed. We lost one great person and 2 people very badly hurt. They're okay now. But no, that was, so in a sense, that was pretty amazing, the job they did. But they did have that one weak spot, as you know. They should have had that covered. Tonight they had everything covered very quickly. And he was fast. He was running full blast, and they got him.
I mean, so fast, he might just run through security altogether. Like, that's the trick. You just run really fast. This guy was like fucking Usain Bolt out there. Like, he might have got in if they didn't do such a great job at subduing him without fucking killing him with a bullet.
Before they got any further. I was very far away. He hadn't anywhere close to breach the doors of the ballroom.
So why the fuck did you guys cower out and why are you here? Why are you not in there doing your amazing, ripping speech?
Was sealed, and everybody in there. That's why once those doors opened, they didn't want to do tonight. If the doors weren't opened, we could have probably done it tonight, but I think we're much better off rescheduling. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, for you and perhaps law enforcement as well, what is the level of confidence that this was a lone actor, and has the suspect made any statements to police while in custody?
Yeah, I think it's just it's not my profession. We have great professionals up here and outside that have been working with us. My impression is he was a lone wolf, whack job.
Whack job, lone wolf. Like, they've created these narratives. This is a profile they've created of people who do these assassinations, and it's great because oftentimes these guys have zero voice. In fact, every time they have zero voice. Have you heard from Tyler Robinson or Luigi Mangione? And the Tyler Crooks, or whatever his name is, Thomas Crooks, he's dead. Like, usually they're dead. They die. And so then they comb through their social media and you get some weird shit from them, right? Some of these things that happen in these other events. But these lone disgruntled people, then they're, it's just this idea that everybody, like I said, everybody's a potential shooter then, right? So they have they could justify any kind of bullshit they do for you. Oh, we got to take everyone's guns away, all these kinds of things. Not that these groups of people, not that there's some ideology, not that you're doing hateful things, not that you're murdering children, not that you're protecting pedophiles, not all these things, right? That there's a collective sense of we hate you, right, to Trump, like everyone hates him, and so there's none of that, right? And he'll never say any of that. But this idea of a lone wolf, they've built this over time, where people think, oh, it's got to be a lone wolf, because no one else would have, who's good at killing people? Governments, big financial institutions, trained military, right? Trained groups of assassins and mercenaries and things, people who have already, you have to this guy's never killed anybody before. This guy that just ran in there, he's like whatever, college student, whatever, some young dude that ran in there or whatever, a disgruntled person. And he still hasn't killed anybody, right? So, who's better, ex-military or, some random liberal college student? It's silly. The whole thing's just fucking silly, but we've been conditioned to accept these things because it's just been a narrative they've put out there time and time again. When 9/11 happened, I remember I said to myself, I bet Al-Qaeda did it. because I've been conditioned for that, right? I didn't know what fucking Al Qaeda was. I didn't know any of this shit. But they train you to believe these things, right?
These are crazy people. These are crazy people, and they have to be dealt with. We had that in the second attempt, as you know, and he's spending life in prison. Because if you let him out, they'll probably, if he serves 10 years or 15 years, you let him out, he'll probably try it again with somebody else. They're sick people.
They're sick people, so they just got to be, they just basically be killed on sight.
We have a lot of sick people, but you're going to know.
Like, why didn't they kill this guy? Why did you kill him? Like, why are they trying to subdue him? I mean, they're firing at him. You see that all the cops are firing at him as he ran by. No bullets hit him. How bad are they? How bad shots are they?
I think very shortly you're going to know, Todd, a lot about him. You're going to know a lot about him. Yeah, a couple of more.
Yeah, we're just about to release the packet of information.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Are you concerned about political violence? This could be politically
All
motivated.
violence. I'm concerned about everything.
I'm concerned about it. I don't like violence.
But I can't be so concerned that you can't function. No, I'm here. It's a dangerous profession.
It's a dangerous profession. I'm a fucking daredevil. Like, I'm just crazy like that. Want to get lumered, right? So I forgot to show you this. This is, I'm not really all that familiar with the It movie and It books, but I know enough about it to know that this is perfect, right? Just, let's get back to the Trump thing here. You guys who have watched me for a while know that I do a good job unintentionally. It just happens that way. Where I'll click on I'll hit pause, and when I hit pause, there'll be a unflattering picture, right? But what I believe these to be is like moments of truth. Like my brother, he left his wife for a much younger blonde woman that was completely crazy, and his son's birthday was a fucked up thing, right? So I've talked about this before, and she was really crazy, and he was having trouble with her, and then he started doing the meditation, and he had taken psychology courses as well, and he ended up counseling Vietnam vets, so he got into the work that I was doing at some point, in his, whatever. We both were interested in that kind of thing, but once he started doing the meditation and reading about your inner world, the Sajmark meditation focuses on what's inside of you, and it fixes from a spiritual place the things that are unnatural and go against your spiritual goals and purpose. But understanding people's inner world is a thing that I've been working on since even when I was a little kid, right? Understand what goes on inside of myself and in other people. Why do people do the things that they do, right? People sometimes do things inexplicably. Not under the influence of alcohol and drugs, and they don't know why they did it, right? There's a time years and years ago, one of the guys on my basketball, we had a intramural basketball team and we had a YMCA basketball team in college. And I had a roommate that just lost his shit. He ended up losing his shit. He went kind of crazy, got into guns and stuff. And he was a rent-a-cop. The local police would hire people that they didn't have to put through the academy to be police, to do things like, be crossing guards and shit like that, right? They paid some, dollar amount an hour as a part-time job. And he was a drug dealer. He had been dealing drugs previous to that job, but he got this job as a cop, and he got himself a revolver, like a gun, and he left it sitting on the dresser. And I went into his room. He was watching TV, laying on his bed or something, and I was bringing him this guy I played basketball with, and who knew my roommate, because my roommate played on one of our intramural teams or something. They knew each other, and my friend picked up the gun, pointed it at my roommate, and pulled the trigger. And it just happened to be unloaded, which was, of course, and we were just like, what the fuck did you do? And my friend was like, he didn't know why he just did that, right? He saw the gun, picked it up, pointed at it was point blank range. If there was a bullet in there, he would have killed the guy. His life would have been over, right? And, he would have killed somebody or at least seriously hurt him. Would have been a life-changing event for everybody involved, even me, right? And he had no idea why he did it, like just totally impulsive. And this wasn't an impulsive person. This guy was taking business classes, and he already had like a job within some sort of financial firm, like an internship and shit. And he was somebody who was more focused than I was. It was on his future, and he just fucking did something stupid. And so people do things in terms of their internal worlds. And my brother showed me a picture of his girlfriend, and she looked like a scared little girl. Like she was just, the expression was caught, and he said, I think this is her internal world. I think this shows who they are inside. And so people put on masks, and Trump is good at, being a cheerleader and being sort of, high energy guy, salesman. But more and more you see faces like this from the guy. More and more you see, like, these guys are all defeated. Like, they know that we're fucked. Like, it's just, like an asteroid's going to hit, and they're pretending like everything's fine, right? And so, this is all just he's, ever since the Iran war, he's been looking more and more beaten.
I tell the story, race car drivers, I think it's very dangerous. So if you take 1% and then take about 10% of 1%, just to break it down very easily.
That's not very easily. 90% of, it happens 50% and 90% of the time. 90% of 50% of the time.
So much less than 1%, 10% of 1%. I think bull riding is very dangerous. If you take about the same 10% of 1%, much less than 1%. But if you take presidents, it's 5.8%. And about 8% are shot at. So nobody told me this was such a dangerous profession. If Marco would have
Polo
told me, maybe I wouldn't have run.
You would support little Marco?
Maybe I would have said, I'll take a pass. No, it's a dangerous profession.
But who would have made America great again?
I don't view it that way. Look, I'm here to do a job. It's part of the job. It is a dangerous. I can't imagine that there's any profession that's more dangerous. But I love
Than fucking being a president.
of the country, and I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the job we've done. You see what's happened. We have a great country. We've got, I think, the most successful, the hottest country anywhere in the world. This happened over a period of just a year, and we're going to do great things. But with that come risks. There's no question about it. Yeah.
He said 8%. So how many presidents have there been? 47? Is that what it is? 47 different presidents. But some of them are 2 terms. One guy was 4 term. And then what is it? 2 been assassinated. Kennedy and Lincoln. Was there more than that? So
there's been so much political violence, not just aimed at yourself, but at other members of Congress, state house speakers, you name it. Is that just the cost of doing business to do politics in America anymore?
Yeah, well,
what does that say about our country?
Too. We're not the only country. You look at this great violence with all countries. I was talking to somebody from another country today, and they have numerous assassinations of political figures all over the world. You look at South America. In South America, it's like some of the numbers are just horrific. It's dangerous. It's dangerous stuff. Whether it's
only dangerous being corrupt, grifting piece of shit. Right? Being a criminal, being a head of a fucking mob, like being a fucking cartel leader. That was what a president is, right? What a leader of a fucking criminal organization is. Look at this guy. Look at this guy, even with his fucking glasses on. What the fuck's going on, bro? Is the fucking Adderall kicking in?
Here or someplace else.
I don't even know what Adderall does. I assume it's something that makes you like more hyper, but I don't know.
No country is immune. No country. Good question.
Will we turn that temperature down at this point?
Well, probably if I decided to just not do much, if I let everybody rip us off and take advantage of us. Look, we're...
Okay, so you said this is a lone wolf fucking guy, and the other guy was a lone wolf guy. How does your tariffs have anything fucking to do with this? Like, none of this has anything to do with you other than the fact that they think you're a fucking Satan and they hate you, right? Like, I mean, in terms of the official lone wolf story that I don't believe. But, it's not because of the fucking tariffs, or it's not because of these, unless, he's being paid by some foreign country. And again, the guy didn't, I was watching the news. I meant to lead with this. I ate lunch and I went through all the channels. I went through MSNBC, Fox, and CNN. CNN, she was whatever her name is, the blonde woman with the fucked up face with the Joker smile, and the dude's name, Dana Bash, was interviewing Wolf Blitzer, who was in the room and saw the gunman exchange fire. And the guy was on the wrong side. He was on the the right side. He had passed through the metal detectors. And apparently the guy had a lot of guns and knives in his room. And so, this was some apparently liberal dude with a lot of weapons that he purchased right before he got there. I don't know. California has very strict gun laws, so I'm not even sure how they're going to spin that shit. But he was a California resident. He was staying at the hotel, and he was inside the metal detectors. And the guy at Fox News was saying how much, they couldn't screen all the people in the hotel. And so that's why they need to have the ballroom, right? But the reality of the thing is, and then I forget what MSNBC was saying. There's some bullshit on that. But, but all of them were, not confronting the obvious issue, which is this thing looks fake as fuck, right? Because they've been doing this now for years, and it's too late to call bullshit, right?
Leading the world in trade now. We're leading the world in the military. We're the greatest military in the world. I rebuilt it in my first term, and now we use it because we have.
What I want to say here is, when you create a narrative of a villain in a fictional story, right, you have to have some sort of motivation for why people do what they do, right? And so when I had these villains, these alien villains, in my book, The Choice, they were called the Great Usurpers, because they wanted to usurp God's position and become gods. Like they thought if they could destroy, reality the way it is, that they could assume the divine position. They could rule the universe and make it in their image, right? And so, that was their motivation. Like they had some personal motivation, right? Every villain has to have personal motivation. And their motivation just can't be, we hate freedom. We hate America. Death to America, like that kind of stuff. And that all these Muslims all around the world, or before that the Russians, and before that the Germans, and, before that the Vietnamese, or whatever, the communists, that their whole reason for living is to destroy democracy and capitalism. They exist just to be your villain. Like you see these movies and TV shows where there's, a gunfight, and the guys who are the villains, they don't take cover at all. Like, they just walk into punches like it's a martial arts thing. Like they don't say strategize, all right, there's 10 of us, let's all jump on Bruce Lee all at fucking once. And no matter how much kung fu he knows, we can fucking pin him to the ground and fucking kill him. Right? They all that shit. Like you see in Indiana Jones, the first one, where the guy takes a knife, and the guy takes a sword, and he's swinging his sword, he's showing all these fancy moves, and he just shoots the guy, right? Because the guy, you brought a fucking knife to a gunfight, and everybody laughs. It's a whole fucking thing, right? But, the reality is these guys don't care about their own lives. My brother said when he was in Vietnam, he used to put this gun above the foxhole. They would just take their machine guns and put them above the foxhole and randomly just fire in the direction of the enemy, right? And then they pull their gun down because they didn't want to put their heads above the foxhole. In World War I, when they did all this, this trench warfare, and then they started to use mustard gas and those things to get in there. And these guys would never get above the trenches. They dug these trenches, and occasionally a grenade or a artillery round would come in, or if there was bombers, that's when air superiority meant everything. And they just dug in these trenches on both sides, and no one would stand up and go across the trenches because, when you're in the trenches, you're pretty safe compared to when you stuck your head up, right? There's bullets flying back and forth. And so when you have people with motivation, like what's the Iranians' real motivation? It isn't just to destroy Israel. They have families and they have things that they look forward to. They have holidays. They have, a point of view. They have goals, all these things. And so when you create these individual shooters, what is their motivation? Because they know they're going to be killed or spend the rest of their life in prison. So what's this guy's motivation? Other than some bullshit manifesto that's just a crazy person. They're crazy. It's not a fucking, a thing, right? It's not a real It's not motivation. It's not developing a backstory.
choice. We can't let, as an example, Iran, we can't let them get a nuclear weapon. Everything will be peanuts compared to that if they ever were given a nuclear weapon, and they'd use it too.
They use it too because I know shit, right? I fucking know.
Marco and I were talking about it
Polo.
today. They would use it without even hesitation. We can't do that. It was a shame. I said, oh boy, look at the numbers. We just broke 50,000 in the Dow. We just broke 7,000 in the S&P. They said we couldn't do it in 7 years, in 5 years, 4 years. They were saying maybe in 5 or 6 years. And we did it in 1 year.
1 year we did it. Fucking 1 year only.
And I called everybody together. I called all of these people and others, and I said,
Let's talk about this instead of the Epstein files because I'm in them. It'd be bad for me if we talk about the Epstein. Let's talk about when you go up there, ask questions, just talk about the Dow breaking 50,000.
we have to take a little journey. I say to do this. We just had the great number. We just broke 50,000. Wasn't supposed to happen during my term.
Wasn't supposed to happen. It's the most amazing thing ever. And then I'm like, fuck, we have to do an excursion.
Wasn't reachable. We did it in 1 year, and I said, we're going to have to make a journey to Iran. They're going to have a nuclear weapon.
I just got my orders from Israel. I know everything's going great, but fucking Israel just told me what to do. And, they got they got all those files and pictures and videos of me. So, like, fucking, I kind of have to.
Dude, we had the B-2 bombers take them out. I terminated in the first term the Obama agreement, the Iran nuclear agreement, which was a disaster. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. They would have used it. They would have used it 100%.
100% they would have used it. They would have had nuclear weapons. They would have bypassed all the technology that we and the Russians and other countries that have had nuclear weapons for like 60 years. But, we would have bypassed all that shit. And they would have had missiles almost immediately, even though it took us forever to get like functional missiles. And they would have shot those missiles because they have one goal, and that's just to destroy the world. That's all they live for, those fucking crazy motherfuckers over there. So I had to do it. Like, and Israel told me too, that part.
So, when you do things like that, you become a target. If I wasn't doing that, I guess I'd be a lot less of
So
a
you're
target.
saying this guy targeted you because he wanted Iran to have a nuclear weapon? Fuck you talking about? Like, see, they talk about it like they're battling an enemy. Like, what is it, the devil? Like it was a fucking, there's some consciousness here with all these crazy individuals. They always attribute like motivation to them that this guy's upset that you're not allowing Iran to have a nuclear weapon. But does he have any ties to Iran? No, he doesn't. I don't think so. He's just a lone wolf. Fuck you talking about then, right? All the things that he did. Oh, this guy didn't like when the Dow got up to 50,000. He goes, that's it. I'm storming the White House press conference. Like, well, fuck, the White House, whatever it is, the correspondence dinner. Whatever. It's like fucking silly. Like, it's either one thing or another. They always talk about this. Erica Kirk talks about the enemy, like who killed Charlie and all these people that hate her. It's because they're channeling the devil, right? At least that makes some fucking kind of crazy ass sense. But Trump is talking about political institutions in other countries and yet saying it's a lone wolf, disgruntled American crazy person.
Target, but I'm honored to be. Okay, one more question.
Why are you so fucked in the head?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, President
Did you shit your diaper when you were up there?
Trump. Do you know how the gun was brought into the hotel? And also, how does this event impact you as the leader of our country? Do you think it will change your
I
leadership?
like not to think about it. I lead a pretty normal life, considering it's a dangerous life. I think I handle it as well as it can be handled. I think a lot of other people, you read stories where they become basket cases. To be honest with you, I'm not a basket case.
I'm not a basket case. Look at this guy. Look at him smiling.
I really take it as it is.
Yeah, you would be if it was for reals, because you're a pussy, right? We've seen him before.
I do it for the country. I'm not doing it for any other reason. I have a first lady who's doing a terrific job. She loves the country.
He's really kissing her ass. I guess she's fucking ready to turn on him. Maybe something's happened. She did that fucking stuff with again, on his YouTube channel, so he must have approved it, but
And
the Epstein thing, she said, right?
she recognizes it better than anybody. She's told me numerous times. She said, you are in a dangerous job. But that goes along with her, too. I mean, it's dangerous for her, too. We sat there tonight. We heard that noise, and it was either a tray or a bullet. I thought, okay.
Those are the two choices. Because when you drop a tray, it sounds so much like a bullet.
I was hoping it was a tray, but it wasn't. And again, we had some very brave people doing a great job. So we're
Okay, see, it wouldn't be, you know, when we'll look at that thing one more time here when we're done with this.
very proud of them and happy with them. I just want to thank everybody. They will be able to give you all that information as to the names and everything else. I think we released the names already. Most.
All right, so fuck this guy. Let me show you this shooter thing again. So this thing's hilarious here. But if you've ever been in a crowded room, a wedding, you know, I waited tables in a crowded restaurant, and you have people, they're eating dinner. You see him when Trump was on stage, he's talking to people. Like everybody's talking. You have to talk louder because other people are talking. So there's a lot of volume, and people are engaged in their conversations, right? They're all engaged, you know, talking to these. It's a hobnobbing kind of, you know, pretentious event where people are, you know, networking and doing whatever, meeting important people, like they're, you know, trying to get access, maybe going up to someone they can't talk to normally, someone in the press trying to get an interview, you know, people at their table, you know, there's a whole thing going on, right? And just them gabbing and talking, and the volume just raises and raises, and it's kind of deafening. And you like if you're a waiter and you're doing a job like that, you hear all the, it's like you can't hear things in the outside world, and like Trump said, he was far away from them. And so they wouldn't have heard these shots, and they certainly didn't. The majority of people had no idea, just like at Butler. All right, so this guy runs by, that's one shot, right? So he shoots this guy, he's running in. And so this guy pulls his firearm, he's shooting. This guy's behind him, he's shooting, right? And so,
Shall I post it as soon as
and then he must have caught him over here. Right, so these guys chose not to discharge their weapons because they took the guy down physically. So he fired one shot at one guy. That's what happened. They're saying, and like, you know, it sounded like a bunch of trays dropping. And so those guys didn't shoot at the guy, even though he's running for there, because there's security like over on this side. But they said he was already on this side of the, here are the metal detectors. So who was over here that took him down? And so, you know, the whole thing is fucking, it's just fucked, right? I mean, this is none of the story makes sense as per usual. Okay, so there's a fresh set of beams here. Every time Trump's poll numbers are dropping. How do you know it's fake? The first videos were of Erica Kirk crying. Erica Kirk leaving the hotel, gunshots, here she goes.
I just want to go find. I just want to go home. I just need to leave.
That's funny. You guys are too much. There's a woman who was running it there. Is that it? Look, who's this person? Found the shooter. Look, he's got his fake tampons on. His Trump after the second fake assassination attempt tonight. You know, where were you guys a year and a half ago? I mean, you know, I'm glad this is finally coming out because it's funny. Stephen Miller using his pregnant wife as a human shield. There we go. Just not one single actual tear, just bad acting. All that shit. Bro, just met woman for the first time. I guess I'm out here. They go. Here's a guy. Here we go. Here's a better video of it. All right. Here we go. So here's the metal detector. Here's the guy coming. So why do we see this one? All right, here he comes. What's he doing? What's he got there? Okay, so he didn't shoot that guy. What happened there? Here he comes. So he's running in. What's he carrying? This guy's ducking because this guy has a gun right here. This guy fucking just misses him. So he didn't shoot that guy. He's just running in.
Shall I post it as soon as he packs done? 18. Go for
Where was this video fucking? Why is this just coming up now? Like, why Trump put such a... You had access to this? So I don't understand what he had here. Like, it's like he's carrying like a newspaper or something. Like, it looks like he has a sign here, and I don't know if that's... Like, he's got something, and then... That's the way the light hit it? I don't know. It's like, what has he got there? I don't even know what he's carrying there. Where's the guy he shot? Any of these guys?
Shall I post it as soon as he packs done?
Where's the guy going to make it? Where's Trump in all this?
18. Go for
Alright, so, look at this fucking guy. I mean, you know, it's just so fucking fake. Like, what is this guy's... What's his plan? He's just going to gingerbread man his way all the way into the fucking... You know, run like the gingerbread man all the way into the fucking venue, run up the stage and shoot Trump. What was his goal? Like, I'm just going to sprint through there and it's going to work out. Anyway. All right. See if there's anything else here. Look at these Keystone cops. Enhances security footage last night's assassination attempt using AI. Footage was extremely low quality and seems AI made up some things to fill the gaps, but it gives better view of what took place. No, because it looks like he's carrying a sign here. This guy's wearing a fucking hat like he's the Derby. I mean, the whole thing, like, you know, it's just... Yeah, this is just as fake as the fucking real thing. It's just that, it's, you know, the real thing was fake and this just added to it. Because of the AI. All right, that's what it says, cap cut AI. Alrighty. Here's Alex P. Jones. I don't know how much more I'm going to cover this. It seems like the story's petering out because it's fake as fuck and there's nobody dead. And it's just, you know. But look at this sad fucking dude showing his 1990 Toyota Camry, right?
Everybody's asking me whether or not I think the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night in D.C. was staged, and the long and short of it is no. You had too many of the D.C. police, Secret Service, all of them involved. The very small percentage of those guys are corrupt. Something like that right out in the open. A registered Democrat, Trump derangement syndrome, 30-year-old teacher. Everybody keeps saying that, how do you get through security? He didn't. He waited until the event was going. Then he charged the metal detectors, barely got through it, and they shot him twice. He had a shotgun. He shot one of the Secret Service, but the body armor stopped.
Okay, so you only need two actors here. You need one Secret Service guy to get shot fakely, you know, and you need some guy to run through the metal detector with a shotgun, if that's what happened. Right? You only need two. Like, that's all you need to do, and everyone else would think it's real, right? You know. But regardless of, like, see, these are the reasons that he wouldn't give when he used to call everything fake, right? Alex Jones wouldn't ever think about any of these things that would be, like, logical, you know, because he wouldn't reason or come up with reasons it wouldn't be fake. Because, you know, there are things that happen in all these events that are something you can't explain in terms of being real or fake. Like, there's some things that are just, you know, there's hard to, you can't come up with a reasonable explanation for, you know, why it went like this, or how did the guy get in, or, you know, how many people were involved, and, you know, do all the people who've been involved in this conspiracy. Like, it's a lot harder to pull off 9/11 than it was to pull off this. I mean, you're collapsing buildings, right? So if, you know, Alex Jones used to believe 9/11 was fake, a staged operation. You know how many people would have to be involved in that, right? I mean, you're talking about the Air Force, you're talking about all these various levels, and then people seeing shit and, you know, and keeping their mouths shut. You know, people who weren't involved. Like, you have to get lots of people involved to pull something off, right? So, but what you can't explain is why the fuck did this happen? How the guy got through security? What was the guy's motivation? He was suicidal. The guy thought he was going to sprint through hundreds of fucking armed Secret Service and military personnel with automatic weapons and layers of security and get in and get Trump? Was that his plan? Come on. Like, he was capable of sneaking in there and putting together a plan so he got access to at least the first layer of security. But then his plan was to run real fast, right? So, like, it's stupid. What's his motivation? Why is he doing this? What was the motivation for Trump not wanting to be at the White House Correspondents' Dinner? Somebody said that they were going to give Wall Street Journal a award for their report they did on Trump and his fucking picture, and that was going to bring up this whole thing again. Like, that's, there's all these stories. Is that true? I don't know. Could be. Maybe not. Maybe so. Like, there's no way to tell any of these things. But the overall thing is, they didn't need to close the venue down. Right? Why did they have to close the venue down after this happened? Because one guy tried to run through security? That didn't mean that there was somebody inside. There could always be something inside. What if somebody gave them a tip and called up? There's somebody who was armed inside here. Would they have closed it down then, right, if they had a tip? I mean, just because some guy ran amok with a shotgun, there's no reason to close it all down. But there was plenty of reasons to close it all down if you want to distract or Trump wanted to get out of the thing or some other agenda that they have here. But either way, this going to die a miserable death, this story, because no one's going to give a shit, and most people think it's fake, right? Because it fucking looks fake as fuck, right? Just like all the rest of this stuff. And the stuff that they're saying doesn't, it's all lies. Everything that Trump's saying about motivation, he's saying about Iran, he's saying about, all the great jobs he's done, all these things. All the stuff he says is lies. All the stuff that everyone says is lies. This fucking piece of shit, right? So... all right, one more thing to add to this. If you have to get all these people involved is a reason to say it isn't fake, then, then nothing's fake. Like, then if you think that, that there's too many people, too many moving parts to pull something off like this, and Alex Jones has been, dismissing that fucking narrative for years, right? Then nothing's fake. The idea is that people will just go along, keep their mouth shut, even if they are suspicious because they know it's going to be death of their career or whatever. Like, no one's going to come out and say it's fucking fake because they just won't. And, the thing that people used to say, I even think Alex Jones might have said this, I don't know if he did. But what people would say is, it took 500,000 people with knowledge of the atomic bomb, and they kept that a fucking secret, right? I mean, crazy amount of people, maybe even like 1 million people. It's, whatever it was. It's at least hundreds of thousands, at least 10,000. And they kept it secret. They were building a fucking nuclear weapon. I mean, it was like being done in secret, but then they did it. Like America. I'm talking about when America did that. People can keep secrets, especially, if there's threat of something or whatever it is, right? I mean, there's all these secrets that people keep, that shit that's going down. And, sometimes things are leaked. And even if they're leaked, it doesn't matter. Someone could say, hey, this thing was fake. This is a staged thing. The parents of this kid or somebody, or whatever. I mean, whatever it is. But that doesn't mean it's fucking, like it's going to be brought into the mainstream media. I mean, the wonderful thing about this thing, I want to end probably with this. They faked it right in front of all this media people, and all the media people went along with it. Now that everyone's kind of getting on board of Ketchupgate and realizing how fake that was, and so many of these things have been faked in the past. And so, when people know that these things are faked and they know it's part of their job, because, they talk, they gossip amongst themselves, they'll tell the truth to each other, and the government, people in the Secret Service, I mean, they see shit all the time, the Secret Service. Illegal shit going on. They see kids coming in and out of fucking, people's rooms and shit, human trafficking, prostitutes, drugs being used. And they don't say shit, right? The Secret Service, it's like part of their job is not to say shit. Like, you got to ignore all these things and not even tell your spouse and other people. Like, it's Secret Service, right? It's this, like, keep secrets. Like, that's their whole job, right? And so, these things that go on that happen right in front of the fucking the news media, and they're all pretending it was real, right? So I think I maybe make that the title of my video. Anyway, let's move on here. Okay, I'm already over this fucking thing. It's just so fake and just so stupid. But there's nothing anybody can do about it, kind of thing. All right, so somebody wrote this. You got to do separate short clips of the topics. And somebody wrote back, one of my regular people, you got to accept what's given. And the person responded to them, isn't that how a fascist dictatorship establishes? Question mark. So you think me doing long form videos is the equivalent to starting a fascist dictatorship? That my not doing shorter videos, I mean, the guy's, I guess, responding to the person saying you got to accept what's given. But you should also know the rules of the channel, which is no fucking complaint department. Because, the reason I do long form videos, I mean, it's better in many ways. First of all, long form videos, as opposed to doing short little videos for dumb fucks who have short little attention spans and talking in bumper stickers. Like the long form videos are for people who are thoughtful and want to consider something that can't be said in a sound bite or a talking point. Things that are short and simple, bumper sticker talk. But in terms of my doing it, just in terms of finances, I have to do it that way. Like I have to. There's no choice. When I do the short, let's say I did 4 videos on each topic differently. It takes me longer. It's kind of a hassle for me, though I did like doing that. But the first video will get recommended to whatever amount of people that YouTube's choosing to notify that I have a new video up. The second video, you won't get notified, so you won't see it. The third, fourth video will get notified even less. And so I put 4 short videos up, and they get less views and would get less ads run on them because they're shorter. And so I couldn't make enough money to support myself on the what's happening. But I like the long form video is the video of this channel. And you don't have to like it, but you don't get a fucking opinion, right? But when someone says something like this, you got to do separate short clips of the topics. I don't got to do anything, motherfucker, right? Who the fuck are you to tell me what I got to do? Some person shows up on my channel, you got to do this. Hey, well, I got to do this, right? Because why? Because you want short videos? The world doesn't revolve around you. And then you're going to come out and say, isn't that how a fascist dictator establishes? Somebody comes up and expects somebody else to change everything they're doing to accommodate them. That's how a fascist dictatorship starts, right? Because you could say, could you please make these videos shorter, or why, or you could actually find out why I do it, because I've already explained it. Like, this is what I got to do to keep the channel going. The person wrote back to them about the dictatorship. I'm sorry, you're correct. Fascism always begins with free entertainment for millions of possible creators. You don't have to really support or donate anything to them. But of course they should listen to what you want, because you are fighting for our freedom. And then the person goes on from there. Classic. And there's one more comment here. I would actually KMS, I think it says kill myself, right? I would actually kill myself if this is the title of my videos, #KetchupGate, the late to the party fake truthers, Donald keeps capitulating. So this is obviously a Trumper, right? And so I talk about KetchupGate and how, that was fake. And I talk about how Donald Trump was capitulating to, I guess it was Iran. And this Trumper, without, saying why their butt hurt, I would actually kill myself if I believe this. Holy shit, this guy is really struggling to rub his 2 brain cells together. So you don't understand, you don't have the capacity to understand what I'm saying. Like, I could be speaking a foreign language as far as you're concerned, because you're too fucking stupid to understand what I'm saying. And you're saying I'm the one with having trouble. I'm struggling to rub 2 brain cells together, my only 2. You know how many brain cells everybody has, even stupid people? Like, so that's just dumb. But, you can't even conceive of the fact that KetchupGate was fake. And if it was, or whatever else I said in the video that triggers you, you would kill yourself if that was true. Like if you don't have the capacity to even believe it as a possibility. Like believing it would mean that you would have to end your life. Like believing, things about Donald Trump who doesn't give a shit about you and is fucking a parasite piece of shit, right? A grifting parasite, demonic piece of shit. And you can't even entertain the possibility that he might not be what you think he is. And that he might have duped you. And if you realized that was true, you couldn't handle it. You would fucking melt down. You would say, I can't function. I gotta fucking kill myself. I can't fucking live like this. I can't live if Donald Trump faked his suicide and fucking faked his assassination attempt. Like that's what you're saying as a human being. Like you're so low functioning, you can't even, the possibility of this can't even enter your mind. So, why are you even here? You saw the title of the fucking video. If I thought like this, if I believe what this guy's saying, holy shit, I couldn't fucking handle it. I'd short the fuck out. I'd fucking head myself. It'd be too much. It'd be like I'd be fucking like some video game fucking character avatar that can't handle what's going on. You just short the fuck out. And, like I couldn't handle that. Like, holy shit, bro. But this is what most Trumpers, this is the case for most Trumpers. Like they can't handle the reality of what Donald Trump is. If they had to believe, like they would give up because they have no hope. Like all their hope is in him. They have no real relationship with God. They're usually losers, fucking whatever it is, right? They have no real hope in their lives, no hope, no anything. Donald Trump, he was going to make America great again. They find out he's been lying to them. What else do they got to fall back on, right? Their fucking, their fat husband, their fucking, their toothless wife, whatever's going on, right? They have nothing going on. Their shitty job, like their fucking dumbass kids, whatever. They got nothing going on. Their one glimmer of hope was Donald Trump lying to them. And so when they have to confront the truth of it, it's too much for them. So this guy's fucking, this guy, I don't know about this guy. Fucking, if I believe what he believed, let's read the comment again. I would actually kill myself if I believed this. Holy shit, this guy is really struggling to rub his two brain cells together. It would take a lot of brain cells to come up with some, even though it would be crazy, being crazy and being stupid are two different things. So if Donald Trump didn't fake his assassination attempt and they came up with all this, stuff, it would take some creativity. It would be crazy, right? It's wrong, but it doesn't mean stupid. But anyways, this is the Trumper. This is why you can't talk to a Trumper. They've taken all their chips and pushed them in the center of the table and went all in on, Trump hope, the Trump bullshit train. And if Trump turns out to crap out on them, then they're fucked, right? They can't go on, right? This is, they can't come back from this, right? And there's people who, if their team loses the championship game or, there's things that happen like, their football, their NFL team, whatever, their city team, or whatever it might be. If like something goes south on them, they can't recover, right? They're down for weeks, right? Like they can't, it zaps them because they have so little. They're bankrupt. They have no energy, no hope. They have miserable lives. They're just getting through a fucking day, and then they see a glimmer of hope, something on the horizon. Trump's going to make it better, make it good for me again. And then they find out he's been grifting them, and he's like, holy shit, I can't take it. I'm assed out, right? Anyways, cheerio. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Barabato, definitely pointing for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.